Okay, Fambulem. First of all, warm greetings from the media empire, TNN. And I bring una this warm greeting from the empire. I repeat once again. And a massive apology to every one of we international or global fans, depending on how you want for Tamam. Because imagine we are half an hour late. But usually, not supposed to be so. We apologize sincerely from the depth of our heart. And we get a very special guest who will try for makeup for this, but that does not mean that it was right that we ran late. Obviously, there are many technical issues in the background, many other issues, but at the end of the day, what's important now, where we can yeri, we suppose for yeri, we sort of they move the trajectory in terms of nation building, national cohesion, and how for go forward as a people. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is the 27th of March, 2022. Me where they talk to una. Me na Prince Emil Koma, and this na the T&N TV media empire. And to be not tell una we they separate the media empire because the media empire na the parent body of things that way we already they do far away just from the TV, and you get the TV itself, but we aspire for do many things, so hence the empire. But for now, this is the T&N TV. And Fambulem, we've got none other but the wonderful Mr. Haroun Olu Zubairu. Haroun, welcome to the TNN. Multiple times you've appeared on this platform, but it's been quite a while and it's good to see you. You look well, and I hope all is well. And welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prince Emil Karoma. Again, we get to apologize to we fans them and people who we don't invite because I know they look forward to this particular interview and discussion. But again, we are not in control certain time for technical issues. But I tell the family and thank you for even log in and watch waiting we can talk about. Thank you. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Haroun, for helping to participate in the apologies to we viewers and listenership. Just a quick one. Unfortunately, Fambul again, Unage, for forgive me, Haroun. If you can bring your camera, I mean, you as the person sitting, all you need for do now for I don't know why you adjust them, but you head
Okay,
it
good.
above. So bring and down a little bit. Okay, let me see. It should be fine. Yeah, you are absolutely fine, sir. You got it absolutely correct. So just straight away into the program, and I repeat again, just straight away into the program, and no one for anticipate, waiting you believe, waiting you presume, waiting you know about the state of your country, politically, economically, socially. There's a lot going on, but there are individual views on these particular things that when they go on. And you, we guess, will they ask you, waiting now you take about we country as a whole on waiting now the things then where they on go from your own perspective. And once we get your answer or your sentiment where you express, then we shall take it from there.
Thank you very much again for the question. Waiting on the perception of we country. We country day at a demise. We country day at a peril. We country not a function. As we talk today, Sierra Leone na the ninth points nation in Africa from 52 countries. I'm not make mistake there. Think about this. Per capita now we country not only $504 per year. An average person go sleep with 1 meal or no meal for the entire day. Unemployment is over 70%. Education is in shambles. The health system is in peril. Infrastructure is not working. The business does not flourish. Bank system is broken. The water system, the electricity, everything is in shambles. We are not doing well at this particular junction for over 61 years.
Wow. Mr. Zubairu, again, I repeat, wow. If not dissertation you've been do, this is quite serious and family. I know, I'm not being patronizing, but the way how the brother, just summarized the situation, that's quite impressive because it appear like this is exactly what the situation is by every measure. If you did on social media, if you talk to your people, them, you're familiar with the gun, then obviously maybe your sentiments go resonate with the with guest. And what you will guest say, it's not really far away from it. And we want to put that to a test, here right now. Mr. Haroun, the thing that way you talk are very strong and powerful, and you're talking about a nation, but they are indeed very powerful because if we look to the stats, to the data speaks in terms of which you just referenced to. Per capita is less than £600. Average meal for Sierra Leoneans, if you can afford them, now one per day, and normally people are supposed to get 3 times a day, and many other crises and etc. where they go on. Now, Mr. Zubairu, from your understanding from your volume or encyclopedia, you spent quite a while in Freetown, Sierra Leone, just quite recently. You were
Yes,
there
sir.
for quite a
Mhm.
long period of time. Tell me about your experience, during your time down there, where I shall say inform this is summary where you just come to.
Yeah, and Mr. Kurma, you just say pounds, and I was talking about dollars. So you upside it a little
Forgive
bit.
me.
Yes, and that is not yet. But within I see, um, I'm literally, Mr. Kurma, um, an average person under 35, in a street, they beg for their living. We get over 2 million people in way they ride Okada today, but 100,000 of them actually they in a Freetown. They don't get place for sleep. They virtually they sleep na the Okada. You see people them, ordinary people them, the police force, the army force, the educational people, the educational system, everything is broken. Nothing, absolutely nothing is in structure. Nothing no structure in our country. When it comes to even the water system not the work for we. People will not get clean water. As we get abundance of water in our country, it's only clean water not the people and still the struggle for water. The light system, the gasoline prices, the school system, even with Freetown, there's no toilet. The sanitation crisis where we get now in country. I mean, I can tell you litany of problems them now in country where we cannot really say Salon is doing well on any particular sector in life. The basic things in life, whether not food, clothing, healthcare, nothing is in plan. We go talk about that in the we go start for ask the question and I go detail and I go like for talk about democracy, which I think about in our country, sir. But go ahead with your question.
Okay, many thanks for that. And Fambole, what I want for Leona take note of. There is very many Sierra Leoneans then we can take note of them things in they, and there are very many Sierra Leoneans where not they take note of them things in they. For example,
Mhm,
what do I mean by this? When you talk to a guest or where generally you have a conversation, the nuance, the body language of people is quite important. The intonation, how they express within they express, is very important for let
mhm,
you take note of because you can make a determinant factor as to waiting and they say and how much they mean waiting than they say.
mhm,
And for me personally, what I take from this, what in the board I just say in the last 60 seconds, it's like something where they come deeply from the heart because it's really touched. And anybody can be touched by that factor. Say, people are supposed to have 3 meals a day. Then they get that 3 meals a day and they get them one day. And if you days on Southside, they get 3 meals a day. I mean, this is astonishing that people they will not actually they get 3 meals a day. Imagine, so you they resonate with them kind of people in it. They also mentioned few things, yeah, we want to talk about. And we prepare for talk about them things in the today. Just before going there, Fambulem, we know say we run late and many people are engrossed with other programs. Shall we do the needful on this platform by continuing for share this
mhm.
particular program because it's important. We have none other but Mr. Haroun Olu Zubairu on the program here on the TNN tonight. So, Arun,
Yes, sir.
there are many things we're going to be talking about tonight, but it's time scale, so we not get like endless or infinite time.
Mhm,
Basically, the things that way you mentioned, example, clean water crisis. We call them a crisis. We get energy, light, fuel, whichever way you want to call them, things that are related to energy. There is also a crisis. And then we want to talk about education, and we go talk about COPE. And COPE is very important in this conversation in terms of your political affiliation, if I get it right, is affiliated with one of the parties that are associated with COPE. So very significant for let you explain to Famulen tonight on many things. But let me go with the clean water crisis.
Mhm.
Time and time and again, in we country, a country endowed with abundance of water. You turn left and right, you get massive rivers, you get the Atlantic Oceans, and you get a Lily Valley and streams and what have you. Why 60 years on, Mr. Zubairu, of independence, Whitman, I repeat, normally not to the channel than the working go. But I'm so upset about this somehow that Whitman get for come on, Naya, go teach we, first of all, how for do hand pump, how for chlorinate water, and generally the populace they suffer from clean drinking water. What
Mhm.
exactly is the problem and why is this happening, Haroun?
One of the major problem where we get now we country is we don't know how to be innovative in we governing. We don't know how to actually make a country move from one point and develop as you go along. We're not able to manage a system. Guma Valley was just able make for only 300 to 500,000 people at the time. After the war, we get over 1.5 million people now Freetown urban. But in the entire Freetown, sir, we get over 2 million people there. So if even Guma Valley with a work, and not go able to serve the entire population. Which cause that? Now because we get inept leaders them, shady local elites them. We all they come for now for thief money, take another country and go invest in their families and friends across the world. Another problem we were not able to do now due to that 10-year war, we put we behind. The other thing is this kleptomania tendencies in we leaders them. Another problem, Dandy, but also lack of empathy from them people that we see that they can't serve with people them. Now some of the problem then this we make today, we not get water. Think about this, sir. A 10-year-old girl, they go get water by midnight. One bucket water. When they go get that water, they guess what's in happen? It did it till 5 o'clock. What's in they happen? Then they molest them. They're not able to get enough sleep for go to school. They're not able to get enough water, and then they will be exhausted. We see so many picking out, don't go to slums them. With them picking and they become prostitute because then they all night they find one bucket water. That the major of that was some of the major problems them that in our country. But also they're not able to go across the Africa country them and see how they fix their water problem there. We get a plan where would they come up with? It take 4 elements them, chemicals them. Now each particular area we go able to serve a lot of people them water and clean water for drink. As we can say, water and life. 70% of your body is all water. Why today we country they neglect the people them for water? Like you say, now a crime against humanity for deprive the citizen them for water. So what would they say? We need somebody we get the tenacity, we bold, we ready for clearly explain to the people of Sierra Leone say we can able get water for now. But until we choose the right people then we can always stay in that disposition. And we are ready to fight and talk and speak on the issue and they convince the electorate in Sierra Leone we go help we and make we take over the country and make that difference.
Okay, Haroun, many thanks for that. It sounds much more like a campaign, your kind of slogan, need somebody, and people like can easily pick up from that. But let me press on because this is actually really serious. But notwithstanding, we still get for come to this part of that for show whether it's a campaign slogan, and if it's a campaign slogan, what do you intend to achieve from this and how you intend to go forward. So it's not only about clean water we talk about. We also they talk about many other issues in our country, but some of the basic amenities that a country is supposed to provide for its people are lacking. And another sector that is lacking in Sierra Leone, now one of energy, if you want to call them lights, like how we can call them, you want to call them petrol or etc. Explain to we again back how this energy crisis look like because most people can get confused on media where they listen because there is so much propaganda that people we're not able for siphon the truth from the lies. So we all just kind of get confused altogether. Fortunately for we, you spend quite a significant period of time in Sierra Leone in which you had a feel with the people, feel with the system. So take we on that journey day during your time. Tell me about the energy crisis then and now.
Yeah, the energy crisis, not a real one, not a true one, not a one that we country they suffer from. In my own experience, right, when I go to Sierra Leone, and this amount, this time when I go again, I've been able to see how the scarcity and when ordinary Sierra Leonean, the ordinary citizen, not able to afford the gasoline. Let's talk about the car on site, sir. The petrol when at the day now be 10,000 for 1 liter. But my friends, there are times on several occasions we drive all across, you're not able to get gasoline. And the reason because we not get enough with the cam now we country. We see people that way, if we able to understand how much the engine of the quantity, then are the Okada driver them. Now then are the people who the transport produce, now then are the ambulance them, and then the people that don't the way they transport people from point A to point Z. This is their job and their responsibility. Now then are the engine. So with petrol or the way gasoline, it becomes a problem for them. As we know the crisis across the world, they affect everybody. But any leader we come now we country, if we're able to make that change then not only the elites them, they get them preference for get gasoline. You can see them across. Now then the guy with the best car them, we able for um, um, get durable gasoline time or mile. This is what don't happen. But what don't happen again? How do we get to 15,000 for one liter? When now people in the buy by pint. What didn't happen? We don't ask ourselves, my friends, Mother BO and the administration, they charge people for taxes and other fees them towards each liter where you buy. So majority of where they increase so not for the government which I was saying also for their own reason, for their own good, now it make them do them. So the government will get money now they hand. So they charge the people 15,000 for 1 liter. What do we go do? Of a little question why the government to do that. At this time, where gasoline no day, where petrol no day, now they increase their taxes than they on the people of Sierra Leone. Any reasonable person, before don't go and cut down on taxes, so the pain no go there on the people. How it affects the country, the people. People where they go apply for go buy goods, like if I mind the gas and anything, and then they charge them more. People, they talk people, they not they make enough money. The light system they become problem because again it don't begin business people they get problem because they're not able for purchase oil and gas than the way they need. Majority of the people them again, Mr. Former, then they use generator now they host them. Then they use generator. And for that, it is so the one thing we expect we they spend money per asylum is petrol and also for pay for electricity. Nine are the most expensive because people are not people are for charge their phone and then food them for preserve them, food them. All nine are the cause. So these are the things that really cause the problem of the country.
Okay, so I pick up on one or two things where you say, and again I want for make them things and they clear to fumble them. Very good interview here or conversation with me and Haroun Zubairu. And correct me if I'm wrong. What I understand from what you say in terms of energy or fuel crisis is one of the things we so prominent in terms of waiting to go on now is the Julius Maada Bio government, and for Fambule, we don't understand the JMB, when they talk about the president of the Republic of Sierra Leone, who is the head of the administration. You are saying, Haroun, that one of the issues or the issue here in terms of petroleum difficulty or energy difficulty as a whole is because the government, here imposed taxation
Yes,
which they could have done away with, but they still impose taxation, and therefore that helped to spike the energy crisis. Am I correct? Did I get you right, Aaron?
absolutely. And that's the one of the demise now, sister. When a government go increase taxes on its people because they know say there's a crisis and then blame them on the war. What do you for do as a leader for alleviate that pain at the gas pump? Now that's the we for don't do. And we have seen the president not say one word, Minister of Energy not say one word, not able to tell say that they feel the pain of the ordinary Sierra Leonean, where they come out na Waterloo for Cam Naton for cancel. Where they crack up from that point there to PZ for cancel in good stem. President not they feel the country in pain. President not they look and not get that empathy for its people. That's not some of the problems them we would encounter, sir.
So, in any shape, sense, or form, you're not saying that the president of the republic is disconnected from in people. In other words, the president lives in a bubble where you not understand really what they go on with in people.
He is disconnected. I mean, you can see it travel during this crisis and not able to come and help people. And when you know, say the average people in today, it get worse in the past 3 months than any other time in our country. The pain which we people and they go through, I'm not lying to you. It gets in strong hole in that bow. And they in people, the majority of the people in that bow support them. But I can tell you today, between me, you, and God, I've seen more than 20 young people migrating from Bo. They're not getting nobody in Africa, but they can't find something for it, a place for sleep. This is not the problem that we will go through. If this president be able to begin think, if he get that empathy and sorriness for we country and we people them, believe me, if we find a way for even console the people them and give them hope, but it is not. And the people all they do defend it, defend it, defend. That's all they're doing.
So let's get this right, Harun. Because there is wanting to be, yeah, somebody without a heart, and especially where you're not a leader, so you should have heart where you kind of they resonate with your people them and understand your people and situation that then they in and you they help for do things we go alleviate the suffering or whatever situation you people and find you in. And then you've got people who are heartless, we intentionally not able for help them people them or ignorantly, I mean they not understand exactly what in they go on because had they known they will help, but they ignorantly know exactly what in they go on, but then they in a position or positions of trust. So people in the come on now the president in stronghold, they
Mhm,
come down for can look for living. And I know say the mean she word because I've known you for a while now. When
mhm.
you speak from the heart.
Yeah.
And at the watch again, the body language is quite important to me because you are touched and moved. That's what you are saying. So the president is kind of disconnected that up to this stage, 4 years on, he still is not connected with his people.
Very disconnected, very disconnected. And like you say, we use the word again, he is in a bubble. They go feed them with some of this really cacamaniac information and then intake them, then enable for express them. Then we can see how open this president is. For me and you as a Sierra Leonean, Mr. Emil Kuroma, you get people in a Sierra Leone, you get family there, you get friends there, you get people there where you grow up with. I bet you, now you send people and they send messages to you how hard things are. You set to visit the country and see how terrible this country is. Your friends, until we able to begin hold these people there with a lead we to task, we will always fail. Sometimes it make me want to blame the electorates them for this problem we will go through.
Yeah.
We are scared of telling the Sierra Leone people them either you are dumb or you know everyone for think you only day now one side where you know they see the other side of your country. As bad as the country is, no ministry, no department is functioning, whether not the environmental, that the fishing, now the land, all the institutions are not working in our country, whether or not you land book or you know land book. The basic things of life, you know, so you not get access to them. Why you still the vote for them? Either you stupid, you dumb, or you beg for suffer in this world. Other countries then they thrive, but we in Sierra Leone they fail. The ninth points nation now Africa, now Sierra Leone. We need to do better.
Absolutely, Mr. Zubairu. We actually need for do better, and I like the way how you put them. And this is something that I research on before I dey come on this program here tonight. And you already did ahead of me, which is rare, but it's obvious that you did ahead of me. And the reason why I say so, you've just highlighted the point. Is or are the electorates complicit in their own suffering? I actually get a
Absolutely.
question. I actually had I do me research on that. I've got here like paper notes on that. Yeah. So when you mention I mean, I appreciate you so much for that because this is a question I was going to pose to you.
You know,
So
so
yeah, go on, please.
you know, and we as Sierra Leonean, we when they come and make this change, we will want for day into politics. We if we not talk to we people them, we go do to fail again until that person come and say either you not get no brain for the vote for them people. Yeah, so well 4 years ago you rest up in 250,000, today now 450,000. You're not able to afford them. When the people then go, then give them money for coronavirus, for corona, they still 92 billion leons wait for those support una, they keep unto themselves. When you see
Well,
the president, they go and take on a money, they can't go other country, and they use that to then call per diem for the give in per diem and your friends the money. Then you sit down, they say, Madabio is Madabio, Madabio. Before you go further, sir, this nonsense of this president, you go to the entire Western area, sir. Every place where, every street where you drive, Madabio gets in big picture here in West. What is that all about? What is this propaganda? You are not a king. Why is it that you have all these pictures, you and your wife, all over the country? It's not your country. The people are asking for vote for them. Today, they are suffering. Mr. Emil Koma, I see people right now, Lumley. People in the wash them, they book them, close them, na street. They don't get place for sleep. And then they turn the water on their body, the wash in the 21st century, but also, Mr. Emil Koroma, when you come to that airport stay, when you go na sea coach, Mister, when you drive for going to the sea coach, if you see how broken that road, if you see dust, before you get the main hub of the country, the airport, if you see that road there, how it's terrible. My God, we need to do better, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, Arun. Um, Obviously, I've spoken to you a few times,
Mhm,
and psychologically I try for understand, and you've got this power of connecting, like where you dey try for make you point, and I'm not missing my words. I'm
mhm,
not trying to be patronizing and anything of that kind, and I'm saying this on live television. And
mhm.
this is one thing that you're doing today again, and trying, for get the message out there. And even though I'm asking the questions, but when it comes to humanity, I am genuinely kind of moved because I do know because now the country USA we all come out, so we
Mhm,
all get fumble in there, and I know the kind of problem yeah, we the country because it's affecting us even though we cannot day out of the problem, but somehow we are still connected to the problem.
mhm,
But here is the thing, Haroun.
mhm,
The business, even though you say clearly from the beginning of this program, this problem what we dey go through today, politically, economically, and socially, is not or not a thing we begin today. It begins some time ago. But two wrongs doesn't make right, and we're promised the issue of the right direction, which was a
mhm,
good, sort of mantra, because that
mhm.
means you understand say that direction will be Nepal. I've been wrong direction because it wasn't helping the people. So you promised we a new direction. Can you speak to this new direction contextually, Trade and waiting and sell to we where we are and where we go? I guess you understand that you're very smart.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know, in recently, not too long ago, in the 1990, 91, 92, 93, Bill Clinton say that the economy now is stupid. In fact, I would say, um, nah, not all the people in this case stupid, but the new direction people are then dumb. Because as we did today, Mr. Imikroma, which we did do so, you did England, people are all over the world, they watch me and you. They see new direction. Let me begin talk. I will go agriculture. So I know, so I do not even make $1 million per agriculture last year. Then produce them, then not they allow them across the world. They know that. The Minister of Finance wouldn't say that one bank then they use was I everybody they put the money in not a function. They're not able for pay people them, they're not able for support every city, including Freetown and every other city across the country. They're only able for pay the people that they choose from the political party every month. They hire more people them. When it comes to, let's give one example. Then go to one guy when they call Mr. Gilpin. And then I will call Commercial Bank. Well, the Kel Commercial Bank and the government of Freetown and Sierra Leone, then they work in accordance. That man is doing a fabulous job. Mr. Madabio then they try to pull Mr. Gilpin in that position there because in broader than APC. My God.
Mhm.
Now, this is the government what they talk about. So when you talk about the sanitation system, people are urinating across the city. Then they defecate that the city, boss. When you talk about traffic, now the worst ever in our country, sir. Education, Mr. Madabiode spend 22% of revenue with the kind of consolidated 22%, sir. And when they talk about that, now $500 million.
Which are the next thing where we want come to. So
Okay,
just
so
continue
now
on
we
that.
talk about
Yeah,
that
yeah,
right now.
just continue on that. Just
Yeah,
continue, please.
we talk about the environment. Everything where this man abuse say it do, he has failed. You name them. You say you try to pay debt. Last year, no more. Now 500 million. Now JJ Safa and what's that the other guy named Vandy go lent for we country. Majority 60% of what we country they get today, they come out from we they go big in other country. If we get the problem in Ukraine and other country, then we join and we not able to get money, we suffer because a president no gets a direction. This is not the problem that we will get. So we don't know whose direction this man to go, but I can tell you, say the direction is down instead of the trajectory to go up, it they go down. Sir, this is not the problem that we will get. It's a failed trajectory. In the break, sir.
Yeah. Are you hear me?
The break, quiet, sir.
Okay, so at the break. Yeah, I did
Yeah,
notice
quiet,
it
quiet.
at the break. but at least you hear me now. Many
Yes.
thanks for that. We not deal with education, of course, not to holistically one deal with them on this program, but it was supposed to be mentioned. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, you just mentioned them even before they go into that. So,
Mm-hmm.
22% of government revenue is being spent on just education alone. And there are many
Mm-hmm.
sectors of government, for example, health, agriculture, and etc. But everything percentage wise now 100. So if 22% is being spent on education, there's a lot that Sierra Leoneans should be expecting out of education. Again, I wonder you
Absolutely.
broke this down to we free and quality education. You were down there in Freetown for a few months, and obviously you are on an observational and many other criteria in terms of which you believe,
Right.
not to just
Mm-hmm.
holiday, working holiday
Yes.
if you were like. Give me a
Yes, sir.
sense of the reality on the ground in terms of this free education.
Mm. Yeah, free education is not only just for tuition, but sir, if I can tell you how much they spend per pupil, now I mean per each student for let's say the school fees them now one not the 15,000 leons nine they spend. So almost $1 nine they give per semester for each student. How many students that we get today in our country? Now 2 million picking them to go school. Two out of every seven people in Sierra Leone, they go school. Now student now for people who go school. We talk about free quality. What's in a free quality education? Less class size, water, um, um, meal, uniform, books, and also paying the teacher them livable wage. Well, sir, I've gone to more than 10 different schools. Them no go for the water no day. That the schools them even during the corona time, water no day. Even the bouncer the way they go the tank when they use the Miller tank no get water. Some of them they think they don't for them that the Miller tank it broken. They no get way for get water. Some of the class then they abandoned, meaning dust and bold, nothing not they. The teacher they not they get paid. The headmaster, the principal, then they ask for help from the government, they're not able. When it comes to books, even for make copy of the books that we don't want for the pamphlet that we don't want for use, they're not able because they're unable for afford them. When the president say a key food, 39,000 people they normally get food or boss at the country. Would I give them another organization we they call JAM? Now then they could give food to them picking the yaso. When you see how much this president and the administration do have no empathy for we country and we people them, then go and see 49,000 bags of rice. And what's happen? The with the it's not the person where they do the investigation. It's slapped them at the
Francis
wrist.
Ben Kaifala.
Francis Ben Kelfala. They only slap them at the wrist and then go scot free and they move the person with the in charge to another department. This is not the problem that we go through. And not only that, sir, we can forget a result. Almost 90% of the beginner we go sit the WAS exam fail. During an combined time, now 75% now they fail the first time. When mothers still spend this amount of money, now 90% they fail. So it failed by every front. Like as they repeat, mother bill nothing not the way it don't do now we country, where it don't succeed. Nothing. Yes, sir.
Um, wow, Aaron, this is quite kind of revealing. So let me push back on that kind of little bit, because we know that we politics is kind of driven in many respects, not with you particularly in terms of partisanship, whose kind of political affiliation or color where you wear.
Mhm.
But I damn sure say you dey speak from waiting you observe na the ground and
Mhm.
statistics where you lay hand on. So let me talk about this in terms of what you last say, and there are a few questions that I want to go back to
Fine.
what you earlier say. So 90% of people that take Waske failed under this government,
For the first time.
and you juxtapose them with the Anas by Koroma government, in which
Mhm.
70%, yeah, now the normal fail. That's a difference of 20% or more in terms of the then and now.
And
What's
my,
are you
my,
come with this stuff?
and as by Kuma spend less than 18% of the revenue. 18%. Madabio spend 22%. Think about this, boss. This doesn't make no sense. How
I
can the
don't think
president?
you. I don't think you are an Escoma a fan. And here is what you're saying, where it almost like you the praise them, but it's on the basis of the stats.
Yes.
But if Mother Beauty spent 22%, and there's always talk about free and quality education, FQE, in which 22% of the budget is being spent on education, yet the realization or the outcome of the benefit is 90% failure as opposed to 70%, then where are
And
we heading?
also, this man, based on this amount of money it is spent, he say it abolish the evening class. Evening classes, he say it abolish them. Prince, I know see you don't go salon, Mr. Coma. Me they go literally at night and go across the city and see how people in the go up to 11 o'clock na net, picking and they wait for transport, meaning girl picking them. You remember when they get the assignment, they're not able. They get for they get probably get a quiz or a test the next day. They cannot study and come back. They not eat nothing, and they still they wait for transportation. How can a city, a president, a country live like that? How the people them where the government where them they go school? Now so even time when mother be up they go school. Now so even time no. Where it look the beginning today they suffer this kind of way and not get no empathy and sorriness for we country. It is wrong and perplexing, sir.
You also mentioned, Arun, that books and pamphlets normally, when a part of the study curriculum for students, them because teachers they can ask for anything and therefore make the study easier for students. Them they are not readily available and they come at a cost. And the reason why I lay emphasis on this is because we are talking about free and quality education. And
Mm-hmm.
again, back, you are the one that mentioned it because you went on the ground, and this was part of what I want to call you investigation process.
Mm-hmm.
Will you speak to that again, please? This pamphlet where students get for pay for in a free education sort of
And
regime.
we see other African countries, we don't call it free quality education. They get textbook them, a newer version, new edition, and also we can broaden the studies, right? But
Yeah.
also you will get a library, you will get a faster internet for get access to information. And but in Sierra Leone, as one of the poorest nations of the world, yes, so I don't know if we're able to print pamphlets for give them picking and they when they go use as a reference for their studies. They're not able, not only the primary and secondary school, sir, but go to the university them. It's the same problem. They're not able to print pamphlet them. And when I want for do them, the professor or the teacher them get for ask for fees for them Picasso go able to get access to the pamphlet and they but guess what in their parents they're not able to afford them. So you see them picking and they left to their own devices. These are the problems that we will encounter through we own system. And we are looking at this with a just to look them, okay, things can get better until we point finger onto the people them we're dumb, where they vote for them people. Yeah. So we will continue to fail with the people there and the world. They will always say, look, we are some of the poorest nation of the world because we're not we hold them to task. And then the leader them then thinks that we are dumb. They will keep the talk, then talk the asshole. They will keep the threats and we then will arrest we if we speak. But we have to speak to truth to power. And we'll continue to do that in that regard, sir.
Absolutely, Arun. And many thanks for that. They move to something else, not completely devoid of what we talk about, but in
Mm,
another realm. But just before I move there, I would just want to let you make clarification because some then things there, especially on this platform, we are asking for clarifications because we brought you in as a guest, and some of the allegations that you've made, of course, you don't source them, you don't reference them. But here is another one. Like, for example, in terms of the free and quality education, what they talk about, in which
mhm,
government is alluding that then they feed X number of students. You mentioned something like a number of 39,000, which I took note
Mm,
of, and that's what I'm speaking to. You also mentioned, I believe it's an organization called JAM.
mhm.
So, will you try for explain to Fambule where they listen now and we get for listen subsequently? Waiting at this 39,000, almost people in government they feed, waiting and they spend, and waiting at JAM and how JAM they contribute to this free and quality education.
Well, JAM, then organization where they look at poor countries then across the world or in Africa, and help picking and we no get access to just a basic meal. So then they come in a small organization. Then they come and go in a particular area where they know say there's abject poverty, and go to that area then they and provide meal for them every day. So then, based on what they're able to get, 39,000 number they're able to feed every day during the school period. Mr. Marabio, we don't know how many schools that we don't feed, where they feed, but we know when the Chinese people in Giwires, you and you cohort them, not able to tell we say 49,000 bags of rice go. Make your father not able to tell we except to slap the man on the wrist and let him go. No, we know say the people in the beginning of the field, but you can ask let everybody when they watch this video, go to every school, go lunch period and see if the beginning get food for eat. Go to Freetown. If this not true say, then they feed them beginning. So we talk about 2 million beginning. They're not getting being fed. It's a lie. It's an absolute lie. They're not feeding them. Outside the money to go. And within the Minister of Education, they say it always they come with this because it say it gets in a doctor or PhD in something. So it will come with stats them, numbers them, and watch all our things to go. I can tell you today, they just catch people for bribery. They don't punish them. They don't arrest them. They don't shame them. So the one that we poor, that the mother bill in the administration, they arrest because they are poor. Not a couple years ago, they catch a teacher when they take bribe. They go they put on a opportunity and shame her. And recently again, they catch other teacher. This is not a problem. But I can tell you, sir, what's another day, when they use the toilet, they don't get soap, they don't get water, and you can see what's in that the leading cause of death in our country, sir. Malaria and then GI issues, them gastrointestinal problem, they know we get. Meaning people they know they wash their hand fine, so that they go, then they stool, then they stool, then they stool. Now it make most people and they sick because they don't get water for wash the hand and soup for wash the hand. Now it make it happen. And it happen at every school. Every school. When I say go, like a Mr. Like we go now every school, we watch them and then we talk to, we get video and pictures them, we're able to tell, we say this time they go on. Because we get this inept leaders. We get people them. We're not ready for serve them people them. We get greedy people them. And until the people them, where they bring in a power, where they go dance for them, until they come with that their sense. Say this don't make sense. We they die before we time them. We're not able for see we can pick them. The average lifespan of the country are 47 years old. They're dying. They're not able to go and see them picking them or see them picking them married or finish college.
Okay.
This is the problem.
Whew, Haroun. Okay. Obviously, we're about to go into a first and only break when an advert break for tonight. But before we go into that, because the CC we get, I think about 90 seconds, which is a minute and 30 seconds.
Mhm.
Having said this, Arun, a lot of people will move, kind of move tonight because the free and quality education. Now you just break down to whistle. We go on talk about COPE. That's the consortium of political
Political
parties. But
parties,
hopefully, when we come back, because we go like for like you stretch on that a little bit. And there was something else where we want for like you touch on quickly before we go on with break Unfortunately, we just bang on time. So maybe we'll come back then. We go allow you for
Right.
a touch.
Right.
Yes, on
Okay,
that.
good.
Yes. So let me take we only commercial break for tonight. We don't begin to get people the way they advertise with the program, but we still work on the videos. They've already consented to this. But again, let we just do the one we particularly get. And fellow owner, forgive me because I might be a little bit slow than as usual. I might be a little bit slow than as usual, which is a bit strange because I'm kind of used to it all these years. But let me just take with first and only commercial break for tonight, and then we'll come back and talk to our guest, Mr. Haroun Olu Zubairu. Okay, Fambul, we are just back. Like we say, we did take only one commercial break where we get, and we're grateful to the management and staff of Mingles. And Mingles is based in England, the United Kingdom. So if you did travel from abroad, you did come up from Africa, Asia, Europe, America, not forget when you visit England, don't forget to visit Mingles International. Many of our great people are passing through this particular place because the food is great, the company is great. I've been there myself many a times, so I do recommend that and I endorse Mingles. Today, Fambulem, which is the 27th of March, it's a Sunday, 2022. We got a very special guest, Mr. Haroun Olu Zubairu. The conversation that we are getting here into, because we are still into it, is deep and it's coming from the heart. I have no doubt about this. And it's about concern about we country. We're not mincing our words. We're not being patronizing, neither condescending in any respect. All we are doing here is just stipulating facts and facts that we are going to have here tonight. Haroun, once again, welcome to the program, and we deeply appreciate you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Um, I want to go into something where I believe say close to your heart. And this
Okay.
is not something that I've studied quite too well. This is about your ambitions, about
Mhm.
leadership, about where you stand and where you want to go in terms of your country and delivering, your prospects for the city of Freetown. But we go get to that shortly. But before we get to that, I want to talk about something we're also critically important now we country, which is about COPE, which is the consortium of progressive political parties. Something where you're familiar with, something where you're not part and parcel with in terms of your political stripe or affiliation, but how you see them and how you move forward with them. It's a completely different thing. So I want to you give you an idea of waiting you understand about COPE.
Yes. COP become before this. They become for come. Try to find a way, a common ground for support the president and the country. So they come together and say, whatever issue with the go on with the country, we all go come together as a collective system. They will help the president and the country. Well, the president don't want to do that. He thinks say politics is everything. There's so many times where Dr. Dennis Bright, we own the NGC party leader, people like Femi Claudius Cole, and so many other party members, them leaders, them come together and say, let me go talk to them, including the APC party. Omadapio discounts us, remove us, and just sideline us like we're not necessary. We're not worthy of in time. Yes, that's what he did, but that's fine. But we continue to come together, unite, and talk for the betterment of the country and try for unite. What do we come about? For stand for the common good. In order for that we country go before, we need for come together as a collective body and come together and find good solutions them for we own better one at the country. For the shame we don't the shame over the years. We not big, not big, not big. We they say, okay, let's continue for fight here so for we own country. So we don't do them. But it don't reach a point where election they come. So we they decide. We they come together, all the 13 political parties them, we fight against the Madabio administration. We will vote them and beat them and remove them. Now that president. And we get the with
Okay.
everything and every might. But the one thing I can say, Mr. Emil Koma, what's in our problem with democracy? Why with democracy not a function?
Good.
Why not a function? We get a dysfunctional democratic institutions them. Like the judiciary system, my friend. Mr. Madabuild used that judiciary system they for forgetting and for silence people them and locking them up. Just the day before yesterday ago, we only that Dennis Bright. He lock him up for 8 hours by lying. It don't lock Femi Claudius Cole. It don't lock up Kamarimba. It continuously they lock people them up or shut them out. Whether not the Guma Valley, Mr. Marabi no get no way for alleviate this water problem, finance problem, trade. We not get investors them. Mr. Marabi not able for change the country. So what it resort to is for lock people them up. But Mr. Marabi, you get for lock a lot of people in a jail because we are not giving up. But this particular co-op go prevail. And we ready for come to team with other party them. And we ask APC, when I come with honest agreement, we will do this together and Sarah will be better. And we picking them, we can picking them, and we get can picking them. We always talk about this time, how we make the difference in our country.
Right, Mr. Zubaru. Many thanks for that. Bola, I just couple up on a few sort of things. So first of all, according to you, and a lot of it sound very realistic, Marabio is in the control of the judiciary, is in control of the Arun Yerimi.
Yes, sir.
Okay, brilliant. I just want to make sure so you hear me. So the president, as we speak now, His Excellency Julius Marabio, is in control of all the strategic arms of government. So therefore, it get undue advantage. But what you also say is like this no go continue forever, especially at this time, because people are wising up. So the other day, they lock up Femi Claudius Cole. Of course, Kamaremba Mansari has been there for X months when we've been highlighting this, and even by this program we speak to tonight. If you watch the ticker or crawling screen, you go see that Mohamed Kamaremba Mansari is mentioned. The one of the only female presidential candidate, Femi Claudius Cole, was also harassed, intimidated, and detained for quite a period of time. The point why they try for make Mr. Zubairu is the government has been getting away, as you put on Julius Madabio, with all of this for quite a while. If people are not unite around this and say, no, enough is enough, we will continue to see many of these because when in jail Kamaremba Mansare, there was this notion that it is not me. When in jail, when they intimidate Claudius Femi Cole, we saw it as an individual. We not go to Claudius Femi Cole in solidarity. The same was done with the Auditor General,
Yes.
Lara Pias Taylor.
Okay.
Yes,
Mhm,
they're not jail per se, but
mhm,
they use undiplomatic, unconstitutional means for get them in a position. Because why? We, the people who are in the many, we never said anything. And
mhm.
these conditions went on and on and on. And if nothing is done, it's just going to continue. What do you say, Mr. Subaru?
Yes, and this is what we say our institutions are not working, are dysfunctional. How can you hold the Auditor General or remove him from his office for no apparent reason? Because they don't tell we say your administration don't misappropriate so much funds them. And because you know say they come up with another one, you remove them and nothing will come out against that. We as Sierra Leoneans, the one the way they suffer, the one the way Mother Bill in the administration, the thief, they get for begin for speak out. Not to win no more, because some of we don't need for dinner politics. We go be fine. We begin and go be fine. We don't need that. But the one the way they feel the pain, how can Mother Bill continue or harass the Creole woman them, including Lara Taylor Pierce and the mayor of Freetown, continue to harass him, even Aki Sawyer. Begin for speak out. Not to for good damage anything, but we get for begin come out and talk, whether not the social media, the ordinary Sierra Leonean, do a walk across the city and say we want for make you restore Mrs. Lara Pierce. They use the law in their own way. Any country, we know they adhere to the rules and the constitution, like country, like a failed country. And Mother Bill in the administration, they know they follow the constitution. Take, for example, Mrs. Mother Bill is not part of the government. The same money loss. When they put that case across to Ben Kelfala, it say it can investigate all the other first lady before it can to this particular first lady. I mean, how dumb can we be for this man for can't tell we that kind of way and we listen to him? How can Mother Bill choose somebody like this for can lie and deceive the people of Sierra Leone? It's not right. So how do we continue?
Yeah, Aaron. Once again, many thanks for that, because you are clarifying a lot of stuff. And maybe if we do find time at the end of this program, maybe we could come to this for a while, or maybe we go have to bring you again for some clarifications on what you're saying, because the issues are so huge. But then we get other issues then we want to contend with, and these
Mm-hmm,
speak to your ambitions and
mm-hmm.
how you look at things. In other words, transforming Freetown. So let's go to
Right,
the issue of transforming Freetown, which is a
mm,
massive issue.
right.
You've got ambitions of your own, Mr. Zubairu. So even
Mm-hmm,
before I go deep into this particular one,
mm-hmm.
again, we present you with an opportunity for let we understand what your ambitions are, transforming Freetown, functionality, making Freetown a functional city, how you intend for go about them, but generally speaking about you and Freetown, the connection and how you want for transform Freetown. Your view, please.
Right. Abona Sierra Abona Freetown. Like majority of we come off Freetown, we born a cottage. We go to primary school, secondary school, and things like that. We get homes, then we parents, them born there and all that thing. And they, but I'm fortunate to come now United States. But I believe in Sierra Leone. I believe in the Saloon doctrine and the culture, and love the country with all the way I get. Unfortunately, I know I use the word transform. I want do. Oh, before I go further, I did explore the possibility for one as mayor of Freetown. That's what I want for do. I didn't at the age, I qualify, and I think say I get the tenacity, the might, and the knowledge, and also the vision to make that difference. What I want to do is what we call a functional city. A functional city, now that city way the function. As we see today, now the urban way that they Freetown day, now 1.5 million people in there, they are not feeling good. The country, not the city, not thrive from business system, educational, um, the infrastructure, and all of that, we're not able. The cleanliness of the country, the sewage system, the water system, all of them has been broken. And for a long time, it only broken. But we get a very smart, brilliant, and plausible mayor of Freetown. I worship Yvonne Akisoya. Brilliant. The first to reckon with. We love her so much for what it only do. We like the fight in her. We like her. But what we see,
Interesting.
we like him because somebody like me fight for him when Mr. Tundone wag a finger on him. I wish somebody with like me before they again could have wagged my finger on Mr. Tundone for disrespecting the woman where 1.5 million people accept and acknowledge as the mayor of Freetown.
Yeah.
And see how they try to play tribalism on her. It's heartrending. Then cheap politics than they. We see how the mayor they go across the world, speak and beg for we country. They still the point finger up. We see when the mayor of Freetown they get accolade across the world. We start off we say she's doing a good job and we applaud them and see really they make with the shine. The central government they abused this woman. A karma with a mantra we say transforming Freetown. It come with 19 plants down. 19. And then plants that they are good. Very good. If it able for me implement them, Freetown will be one of the city where anybody go envy. Again, 4 clusters: resilient, human development, health city, healthcare, urban mobility, and all that in a day to transform the Freetown. But for 4 years, not even 35% of implant has become solvent. What do you mean to say as a functional city? A functional city, now that city where people don't need for go from Wellington, kind of talk for can buy material for group KPD. If we're able to get that access to everything within their own community or precinct, therefore able to get water for themselves, therefore able to get schools them for themselves, therefore able to get mosque, church them within that vicinity, they access to local things that within that. Therefore get clean air, more housing, reduce pollution, a good sanitation implementations, all the things that they infrastructure, all the things that they go alleviate the poverty and we go begin to see prosperity in our country. Haroun Zubairu, they put plans together for consult with lawyers them, developers them, people that we go able to know about the structure of the system.
So Haroun, can I respectfully stop you there in the meantime? Because you said some things which are very critical, but you are fastly moving to waiting you, Haroun, as a candidate. Because I believe that's what you want to talk about. But before I allow you chance for let you talk about that, we get for exhaust this space about the mayor because na person we potentially you want go against. I don't have that officially yet. As a friend and a brother, I've seen yeah spites of these here and there. So let me just take on that again. So first of all, you talk about the mayor in transformational plan. We get 4 clusters inside the transformational plan, and these are things that we use as a site, which is about resilience, which is about human development, a healthy city, and urban mobility. Of course, you've looked into that.
Mhm,
Where do you fall to the mayor in this?
mhm. I know the mayor, they get mad at me when I begin to oppose her. She gets so mad at me.
So I'm glad you
And
used the word back as well as oppose, because I'm following you. I've been following you, and following you is like you did oppose to her. But today, whilst you were making this deliberation, you not state
Mhm.
anything like oppose to her. Instead, you praised her, but saying X, Y, Z, which is a little
Mhm.
bit strange. So you caught me off guard, if I should confess.
No, to be honest with you, before I even take this quest for even contest against or contest in this next election, I don't talk about wholeheartedly 3, 4 years ago. If anybody go on my page and go see where they make 3 to 7 minutes video on our mayor and speak on and not too long ago, before I even did this, I talk about why is Madabio against the Creole women, them, including Sylvia Blyden, Rachel Pierce, and we mayor. I don't do that for so long. But the truth they talk me, if we continue not be transformed, and we see an opening, and you see where the opening is, and you're not part of the country, you're not part of the system, and you want to make a difference, you can call the person out, say, I love you, but guess what? You are not doing what you're supposed to do. What to make this person, this, a woman not to do what she's supposed to do? With the best plans the way it gets, now we country that we sit here today, not because of one thing, it's vision on how you achieve them. Pakaba, and change this way, the mayor no get much power. That the central government now get the power. Now they allocate money to the Freetown City Council. Mr. Cromer, just last year, 8.9 billion leones Madabio give to we mayor for run the city, where the mayor asked for 29.5 billion leones. We need almost 49 billion for that we just averagely maintain the the city. Written at the problem, why this woman not succeed? Because he embarked on begging, asking for donors that for giving money. And he and the Mother Bill administration keep fighting with each other. Then they come, then they talk to him, company, then they see another give in. Once there is a fight within your system, there will be no progress. Yes. So what will they say? Waiting Haroun Zubairu will come with, we make it say it can make a difference. And up to today, the mayor of Freetown is not doing nothing about this. Me, Haroun Zubairu will say they are not the problem. Now we will not able to fight for that autonomy when the mayor get for control every point where they can inside the country, we system. Almost between 40 to 60%, within the kind of consolidation from the taxes that they come off from Freetown. We only to get less than 1% or that's 8.5 million dollars. Nine Marabio Giwi. $8.5 million. Nine Marabio for the entire year for 1.5 million people. Them we the fight for autonomy. Wait till we don't get during Pashakin time for independently run and like how Alfred Akibobet we do. Now we get for do now. So if we don't want on that mantle, say we want an independent. If the people then buy into them, they get this enthusing in them and fight for them, we get able to make the difference that we see. We get able to get
So,
someone.
okay, Mr. Zubaru, I'll push on this little bit because I'm getting a little bit lost. You support the mayor, but there should be an understanding. Say the position where the mayor occupy is is opposed to the government, not in a sense the way our put them, because the mayor, even though she come out from an opposition party, would very much like for work with the government just for make sure say that the city survives. So what I didn't understand you to say, because you mentioned a few things there which I find, you're sort of all over the place. Akibobet. Now, I remember say I've been there Cathedral Boys School, and the time where you talk about is 74, 75, 76. And I'm sure I got that right. Between 74 and 77 before I
No, sir.
said
I'm talking about the 80s.
okay, you they talk about the 80s, but Akibobet been there very much around when I've been there Cathedral Boys School in 75,
Right.
76, 77.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm trying to say. But let me just bring a count down to what you they talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a different time, Mr. Zubairu.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's a completely different time in which the mayoralty of the municipality of Freetown is occupied by an opposition, and then this person way apparently now the Lord Mayor of Freetown or the landlady of Freetown
Mm-hmm.
is occupying this position in which in an opponent to the all-powerful body within a state house where now the president of the republic, His Excellency Julius Maada Bio. Don't you feel some sort of um, um, sympathy for the mayor in terms of the position? Because now you actually mention them, which is a reality in which Deputy Minister Tondene was so disrespectful. This I mean they describe him, not how you describe him this way towards the mayor. Don't you feel some sympathy towards them that as a woman, now that my experience?
As a woman, as a professional, nobody no get no right to point and wag a finger on we mayor,
Absolutely.
regardless of gender. That divulge from waiting, I think, say we city for one. I support him when I need for meaning. She can hold her own. She is a smart woman. Yeah. But me, they say, right now, waiting make this woman not able for reach and goals them. Waiting the cause them. Now because of that man when they call Madabio. And because of
So,
the laws that
so,
were put
so,
in place.
so,
And
Haroun, you
because
have
of
to
the laws that
forgive
were put
me.
in place, I want to let you know that the laws that were put in place from that time, if they remove that laws, then they Madabio no get right for say anything or stop and for let it pay the tricycle people them.
So brilliant. So having said that, Arun, except your position have changed dramatically and you've done a 360 degrees, so she's been struggling up against these very people. And as a
I've been
lady,
saying that, sir.
okay, I'm not going to take that away from you, but you seem to be contending for a position. And as a Sierra Leonean, if you meet the requirement, you absolutely do have a right. But in
Mhm.
trying for put your foot inside that mayor in shoes, there are some criticism in which a certain point or a part of the community not just agree with, in which they try for criticize the mayor, specifically in terms of what you don't go through. Some of it
So,
I've
so,
read.
so, so waiting be seen also, yeah. The mayor won the city. Like I say, how like I say, monkey one box was the hand shot. One box but enable. And the reason why, waiting make hand shot. Now because of the laws the way they put on the city, the mayor, and how they want for the central government. And as by command do the same thing with Bode. Then they stop them for do anything, they're all power and freedom. Until we able to come and say, we dey fight for that autonomy day, with money now with money, and rally people them, bring energy to them, speak on them, bring people them like me and everybody else. Let we go out there and speak on that every single day. Let we able for one with this system independently. Then we not go any side. Take for example, the mayor want for plant trees them, sir. The school system, now one of the way they want for plant trees them. How they want
Arun,
for them?
Arun, she's already planting trees. And as we
And,
speak today, she's planted more than 1 million trees. So not to
and
want for, but she's done that.
no, sir, no, sir.
Okay,
I beg for this differ with you. Now I make her go through my own system. What I
okay.
tell you, say this woman they plant trees. Then they plant homes them. You can your man Mr. Superman interviewed that young man the other day. If you see all the way they build all across the country, the city, all the hills them, they don't plant homes they did.
Okay,
You go
okay,
around.
okay.
Hold on,
Okay,
hold
okay,
on.
okay. Go on, go on, go on.
Now, hold on. Let's tell you about the other the trees them. I they tell you today, now less than he say if they plant trees them 1 million. It only don't plant 230 trees them. The funding not there for like it won't plant them all, but it not gets the money. Monkey one punch, but it ain't shot. The money not come this year again because we keep the big money. When crisis in the world, we're not able for one. It not plant a million trees. It she can't. At the schools them, when I want for the place that they plant trees, the trees then they die. As I tell you so, honest to God, I don't lie. The trees they're not the plants, not the schools them. And all across the place, then they buy place, then they build land, then they build hostel. The one major function thing where they go in our country now housing. People are building hostel, place that we not imagine.
But you can't blame that on the mayor. I guess some things they
No,
for
I don't
say.
blame the mayor. When the mayor say it, they do we not think through how to get the money. We not think through how to fight for money. And you see, just last year, it reached a half benchmark for plant trees them.
Okay.
What's the talk?
Okay, Arun,
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna have to push back on that.
Yeah,
And
I
this is
guess the Transform
based,
Freetown book. Where Inception writes now, where it just writes say, it's not able for achievement because the funding not been did it.
and not able to achieve waiting.
For planting trees, them now 230 something trees, thousand or the trees they don't pass for the past 3 years. I'm just
Okay,
not lying,
Arun.
things, sir.
Arun,
Yes, sir.
the mayor as we speak now is not only about trees, but tree is one
Okay, no,
major issue.
let me talk about the school system, the way it say it they build school them. Now,
Yeah,
Freetown.
we're gonna come to schools. We're not
Okay,
finished one
okay, good.
issue. You want for us to jump to the
I'm
other?
just saying, the trees, the honest to God.
No,
I'm not lying to you.
it doesn't work like that on the then
People
and
like can
now
people like can
and the
go right now
media.
na transform as we dey talk. People like can go right now na transform Freetown and see how many trees they don't be. Right as we dey talk so right now. And not
Yeah,
even
but
half of them.
absolutely, this shows a system of transparency and
Yeah,
accountability. It's the
I get the
same
book.
mayor's proposals and programs that are able to make Sierra Leoneans,
It gets good
if you want to
proposal
go through
them.
the app, yeah, go on.
If you go through all the proposal them, the urban planning mobilization, you're not able to do. The urban tell we say they build 3 to 5,000 host them within the first term.
That
How
was
much
it.
they don't do to?
Arun.
Yes, sir. Mhm.
Let's let me go this slowly. Let me go this slowly.
Sure.
Because of course you've expressed intentions and ambitions in
No,
that
these are
direction.
facts.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny that they are not facts, but I want to challenge the facts so that you can
Yeah.
even prove them that they are more facts than they were before we spoke. So here it is. This mayor where we did talk about, okay,
Mhm.
in terms of trees and other development them, the mayor being get challenges. So therefore we get for look back, we get for reflect back or
In a
retrospect.
report, in 2021 report of the Transform Freetown, the woman the cry say are not able for reach in benchmark and are not able for plant trees. These are facts. There are videos, and
So
I'm not
let
getting
me agree, Haroun. Let me
yes,
agree.
sir.
Say these are facts. In this same benchmarks of the report of 2021, did she also say why you're not able to reach the goals? Then they
Yes, sir. It says the one the way for fund and are not able to get the money. Again, this is the ineptitude when we come with the thing about
ineptitude of who,
in
what?
governing. When you want to govern a country,
Or
you get to get the
in other words, the governing of the mayor. These are the ineptitudes of the governing of the mayor. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying the inept of the system.
The system, which system? We got
The,
several systems.
listen,
We got
the
governance
system is
generally,
the
which is
central
the government.
government, boss. The central government. Come to put on the president. But put on a day. Here in web in picking them. A majority of the offices there now put on a day. How
So,
can not?
so Harun, the point I'm trying to make, you either blame it on the government, overall government, that's Julius Madabio, or you blame it on the mayor. Who
I'm
are you
I'm
blaming?
saying I'm saying the mayor no do diligence and not push hard to let it get funding them for support in agenda. That's what you didn't
Okay,
do.
okay. Thank you very much. So let me take on that particular things then where you say, and let
Yeah.
me base them on statistics, Harun.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, this is something that you are very familiar with because I've read some of your literature before coming online with you.
Right.
So, let's zoom in on the city of Freetown. And you
Right.
mentioned them at some point during this conversation that we are having now. The city of Freetown, apparently, when me and you grew up in Freetown, because you mentioned few things, and I
Mhm.
existed at that time. I grew up in the city of Freetown at that time, and
Also,
one of
my.
them is PCMH, where I was born,
Mhm.
38 Guard Street and
Right.
PCMH.
And I got
So now
Trinity.
within that, yes, exactly. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Not far away, just a stone throw across from
Yes, sir.
magazine, if you
Yes.
will like. Thank you
Mhm.
so much, Arun. So anyway, so this we fought an 11-year-old civil war, and during that civil war, a
Mhm.
lot of people then come upline. Upland now we very country, and they migrate down to Freetown, and they
Mhm.
can form part of the population of Freetown. This
Yes, sir.
is a given fact. It's a fact. It's not
It is.
arguable. It's a fact that a lot of the population were deep, yeah, disposed of outside me actually they and end up na the capital Freetown. When me and you grow up then day, up the hills then na Black Hole Road or wherever you want call them, people not been resided. There were no houses being built there, and the city itself was catered to between 300 and 500,000 people. That's just
Yes,
fact, Mr. Harun,
it is
isn't it?
absolutely. And
Okay,
I'm not the differ with you, sir.
okay, so now proceed. Now proceed on. I'm glad that you endorsed that because we
Yeah.
will talk about factual things. So that wasn't a problem then until we 11-year-old civil war come, where they
Mhm.
dispose of the people them who side them belong, and everybody begin count freedom. So once you begin count freedom, the amenities them will be done freedom, not be able for cope at all again, whether na Guma Valley, the water system, whether na be the electricity system or energy system, and not be able to cope for that population, they especially so where it been just sudden and not begin go by 5-10%, instead it begin go by 50% and
Right.
100%. So there was a problem. So now out of this problem, this present mayor, I can go on and on for try for Tayloram so that we audience, yeah, readily understand them. But now out of which they speak to, so 11 year of civil war, Akisoya eventually can inherit. After they invite him on Ebola, she came on Ebola, yeah, program, and then serve as some structure with 20 or so more years of outside European or Western experience on structure. On that basis, they then bring and come on. But the idea is now that can happen to a city. So everything else will happen, whether not Guma Valley, whether not electricity. So it not only boil down to the government of Marabio, it goes back. But other governments been done they manage them. And here we are today, Harun. Your view on what I
Oh,
say.
okay. That's like question. Okay, boss.
It wasn't
Um,
a
um,
question, it was a sentiment, but I want to hear whether you
yeah.
resonate with the sentiment
And
that
to
we
be
don't
accurate.
exhaust the amenities then are free tongue.
Mhm.
And we can go on for blame government, whether not APC government or SLPP government, but this
Mhm.
is the reality. But with a boil and down to the mayorality of Freetown, say we want hold and responsible, but at the time, you can't just say it's the mayor that responsible way your population that was tailored for 300 or 500,000 don't triple that amount they Harun. That's what I'm saying. If it were
So
you will struggle.
no, sir. Mr. Koma, I beg for differ with you. Let we talk now as a reality. Miss Akisoya Kam, the Ebola was 2014, 13 and 14, right? So it's 8 years ago. And then the war was a end 2002. Now the war end. 11 years war end that same day. The population grew in so many folds when it gets to this point where we get 1 point. It's not 4 years ago that we know say this population grow, but under this population, now this woman say it run for mayor of Freetown. So she knows what she was coming for and know exactly what's not the problem. Okay? So if me Haroun they now they say, I go to Freetown, I able for know, and I see one of the demise of the country, not traffic and decentralization or centralization. Now we problem. Why we get York, we get McDonald, we get Kent, we get Tumbo, we get all them places with so much land. You say Where that you say in planning good, the urban planning or you say for move, build houses them that all them place them there. Bruh, what's able for them to? First of the major problem for them fix that for build housing and for people them. But enable do I know what to do? Because the central government not to work with them. Then
Okay, so
also,
so so
also,
if we can
also, sir,
agree,
what I
no,
would
no,
say, listen.
Arun, hang on 1 minute. Of course, I will give you a chance for let you go forward. I just want to understand a few things. So, in
Mhm.
this respect or regard, you're not blaming the mayor. You're blaming central government for not working along with the mayor.
I did blame the central government to an extent. They not make it much easier for we people then.
So the mayor not get blaming this. You can style
It
them
does.
politically
No,
whichever way you want to, but the mayor not
um,
get blaming this. It's the government
eh,
that
eh,
has got the blame in this.
no, the mayor not fights the good fight for the people.
What you say not fight a good fight for the people instead of jargons? Explain to we the people, the viewers, them. What you mean by not fight a good fight for the people?
And all go speak for waiting they make the city not the function, waiting make the city not transformed. Now because we not get independence. Let's say example, right? If me ready for one for this mayorship, you know what they do? Let's say now they co-op and they give me that particular nomination day. What are they do? Are they go now say if the people and then give me and that means there is a commitment to it. Are they go either Dr. Kanda Yum Kela or someone Kamara say, you know what they do? If we the people if we choose Haroun Zubairu, we for change that law day. We for change the law, we say we get independent and due to
Harun,
work this
Harun,
way.
Harun, Harun.
Yeah.
Did you say earlier on this program live
Mm-hmm.
that some deputy minister Tondene was wagging fingers at the mayor? And I wonder why.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at what you're saying now. And
Mm-hmm.
the mayor happened to be on the other side of the political argument or political shade.
Mm-hmm.
But you they say now it's like it would have been like a walk in the park with the
No,
same
no,
mayor.
no. I'm not saying that. Again, I know you go see me probably like I get this quiet disposition, but I'm a fire. I
No,
know you know that say
not really. I want for make the judgment on the basis of the
right,
conversation that we are
right.
having.
You
I'm
see,
not prejudging Arun.
right. But we can go right now and fight. When we say we fight, you fight eloquently and galvanize people and with it around you and say this is what we want and let the people of Freetown follow you say we need independence and also for where to go make loan. We want for go lend money because America will be this so America oh itself so much money. I believe say England the same thing. So we can go and lend enough money from the begin make them change then they. What would they say? What would they say? If we able for big international world for even for the first couple of years, they're able to give we $5 billion. We go lend $5 billion, not the world. We can able and we'll pay it within period of time. We can able for make your city a functional one. One, housing, transportation, energy, and bring corporations them along around the world. Look where light system go. You don't think so we get problem with light system? How many of the city council buildings them get light? Why we not get solar panels them across them place
Yeah, but
them?
yeah, you absolutely right in terms of a city council buildings that got light. But city council buildings, you can call them city council buildings, but they are part and parcel of the structure of a city and a country. So the country has got these problems. But speaking back to the mayor, Harun, this mayor has got connections on the outside. I have watched her, here like speak
Our
to
connection has not been effective in for the most part. Now start
what
to
do
place
you
them there.
mean it's not being effective for the most part? What do you mean?
For example, in flagship me, where they talk about plans three, have not been successful.
I don't know. You get for elaborating that is ask me the lost that because you are my guest and respectfully I put the point to you other than just making the case it has not been successful. But when you say it has not been successful, what exactly do you mean that it's not been successful?
So
It's planted
if
over
you put say
500,000 trees. That was like 2 years ago. So if
No, sir.
that trend,
And so the only thing I can say, I don't know if you were able to check it's less than 300,000 trees that don't plant. And right now, and last year, April, we achieved that 500,000 day, but the funding not been this, sir.
so if
Honest
the
to God.
funding not been there, let me agree with you for one moment, Haroun.
Mhm.
So the funding not been there, but again, the intention was there. She said it. She applied for it. She used the available opportunities, and out of 500,000 trees, she's planted 300,000. 200,000 short. Of course, that's a significant number, but that's an intention there. And from which they say, because the funding not been there, so we can go on and ask why the funding not been there, but it don't make 300,000 out of 500,000. That's an achievement.
And well, a significant amount of them, the trees that we plant, till they not did again.
And when you say not did again, then you go get for
The
explain
trees,
why
the
they
trees
not
then
did
die.
again, because the
The
idea
trees
they
then
were
die.
planted.
They
Why they not
planted and
did
they
again?
die. Huh?
Then they die. And why then they die? Let me ask the question because
Because
we get family with the listen.
it's get life, you get for feed them. And if you not feed them, they die.
So I agree, they trigger life. And surely enough, when she went into this, she must have assessed because this woman do 20 years of public service now London or Europe
That let me
in the
say go be a
Western
good
world.
mayor.
Say again?
That let me say go be a good mayor.
No, that does not automatically make her for be a good mayor.
Yeah,
But so far, she's
yeah.
been a good mayor. Do you disagree?
And I categorically disagree with you, sir.
Why do you disagree?
Because nothing not achieve 100% of what he planned for do for Freetown.
It does not
Nothing
have to
on
be
all the plans.
100%. Mr. Zubairu, you can set yourself a target of 100%. Governments fall
Okay.
far short of their
Okay,
expectations.
nothing on the way actually reach 35% of what he planned for do.
Where is the statistics coming from that achieve
Okay, no,
35%?
give one example, sir. You know
Yes,
what he
please.
do? He say it build school STEM. You know how many people in the go school in Freetown?
More than 2 million people.
No,
I
sir.
can say that.
2 million of the entire country. I'm talking about Freetown number, sir.
Oh, no, Freetown. I don't know the exact numbers, but
Yes,
I know
sir.
that the
It's
entire
almost
country is over 2
300,000
million
picking them. It's
people.
over 300,000 picking them to go school today. You know how many schools it built? One, it finished the other one right now. No, it don't make no dent. None. Two schools now that about for build. You know how many markets they don't build? 4. How you call them? Longley today. Let's see how it overflow with the markets we build it. 4 markets then I build. Go
So,
na Dockot area we come out. Go there today.
So Arun,
Yes, sir.
exactly. You know what you bring me come to my point
Mm-hmm.
because this is what I thought that in carrying out the critical side of you, you're kind of opposed to a mayorship, even though at some point during the conversation you're saying no, you're not opposed. Yeah,
Mr. Kroma,
you get what I'm saying. But I mean,
no, I
Arun,
think
one
you
minute.
get it wrong.
Arun, one
You get it
minute.
wrong. Mm-hmm.
Okay, correct me. Go on, correct.
Me get a personal affinity and likeness for the person based as an individual where gets his tenacity and smartness, not able to achieve
Please
in those
carry
them
on.
as male. It get the zest for one for male and try for one. It get the it know how for dissect and talk about in clusters and regurgitate them constantly means say that enable achieve them means say she is a good male or you don't achieve in goals them. I like implants them, I like in explanations, but none of them has been executed. And today they are failing the people of Freetown. Yeah, okay, good. We'll come back.
Oh, okay, Arun. Sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah, I was
Go
kind
ahead.
of, I was kind of listening, yeah,
Yeah.
to waiting you to say.
Mhm.
So
So
I get this.
I like her for intellect, the love of country, and which he want for do. but we fall short for achieve the goals them, and I go fault am for that. Then it in likeness for what he planned for do and what he achieve now two different things. Then so I like him as a human being for what he do, sir.
So, but when you say achieving goals, them, she set herself goals,
Mm-hmm.
just like you will do, and then
Mm-hmm.
goals then they then time framed. So
Mm-hmm.
until then time frame then they exist, I mean exhaust themselves, then you cannot be held responsible because you still dey walk towards, your objective or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
this is what the mayor is doing. He get like a time in office. So he set himself then time goal and day. But you seem for
Okay,
don't
sir.
judge him.
Okay, one of the major problem we get now with country we're not able to fix today. Now overpopulation, lack of housing, and traffic, and the infrastructure is broken. Our electrical system is not working. So those are the problems. With Freetown, it's the same thing that's going on now with Freetown today. When it comes to a resilience, it's an over planning. The question I will ask you is the mayor even build 50 houses for people then?
Okay. I think
Okay,
that's fair.
another one.
I think
Okay,
that's
the
fair
other one
enough.
back is where it say human development. How many schools they build? Skills development. How many technical schools they are able to bring come for letting do? What about the health system that she says she's gonna do? Now two hospitals no more able assist. Where it pay for boss. Sanitation today, what you able to do for even innovatively use their stool and they for make up something we'll use using usable stool them. And not able so all what they say, the urban mobility never worked, resilient human development, all of her plans has not been achieved. Until we able to say, let we go with all these politicians to account for their
Okay.
actions.
Okay. You get for forgive me because I want bought in before we lose that
Mm,
train of thought.
yeah,
Because it seems for their portion blame to the mayor, and
uh,
probably rightfully so. But
accurate.
a sound to the extreme, Haroun, because of
No,
waiting the mayor inherit. That's why I say a sound to very much the extreme.
when you inherit something, you come if you didn't at the same level, then you're not making a difference. You look the
When you say if
president.
you didn't at the same level and you don't make any
I
difference.
mean, there's nothing that's been achieved. Salon still, when it comes to sewage system, the overpopulation, the collecting taxes, and all your plans, them you put all day in writing, but achieving and you use the social media for bloating yourself, it's not gonna fly.
Okay. So
It's not.
I don't want to be a spokesperson for Mayor Akisoya.
Yes,
But here are some facts, Harun.
right.
So the mayor inherit a capital which not been a move in any direction, left, right, or center.
Mhm.
11 years of civil war, and these are all facts. 11 years of civil war left that capital city of Freetown down in the
So,
doldrums.
mhm.
You want to say
So no,
something quickly?
not get another 4 years for like do repeat the same thing, then blame
No,
on
no, that's
on
not
11
that's
year
not what
war.
I'm saying.
Okay,
What
because it,
the case that I'm trying
the
to
war
make,
ended
Arun,
2018, today now 2022. So 20 years ago, now the war end. 20 years ago, now the war end.
when
And we
did she
still there
become a
back on that.
mayor? I don't want to be somebody that's defending her, but when did she become
It
a
came
mayor?
as a mayor 4 years ago. And
4 years ago.
all she did was it put plans them. We they say we put plan now for execute the plan and achieve
But
the
of course,
goals
she's
them.
executing the plans. And let me
How
help you
many
now.
houses we don't buy?
Okay,
Again,
Arun,
19
Mr.
clusters.
Zubairu, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Zubairu,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Zubairu, let me help in this direction because this is something that I didn't wanted to do on the program. But even me, when they present the program, you're challenging me now, and I've done my due diligence. So let me present this to you. So
Mhm.
you are absolutely right that some 20 some more years ago, the war ended. When the war ended, all that happened in the city of Freetown, it got overpopulated. Okay, a
And
city that
our
was built,
population will come when this mayor become mayor.
but she inherited it.
Okay,
Mr.
based on that,
Zubairu.
I know. Now I make it puts the plan based on the overpopulation. Now I make it puts them plan in the.
What
We
are
don't
you
put the plan them.
expecting for put the plan if you not based on over the overpopulation at the time where he
And
inherit
that
am?
I agree
How
with
does
her.
she
I agree
hope
with
to
based
work
on that.
get some results?
I agree with him where it puts in
So
plans
that means you
together.
agree with me because it's on the same wavelength that I am on. He put
No,
them
no, no, no,
plans
no, no,
again.
no, no,
Where
no,
do
no.
you disagree?
I agree with and say there was an overpopulated city and it don't become a crisis in our country. And you see everything that happen in our country, it become a crisis. So when you as a leader, we can run for a city, you dey put a plan, we go alleviate them potentials that they them potentials for problems in our country. So what you dey do? You dey go ahead and put plans and say A, B, C, and D. I work with the central government or get a loan or get some kind significant amount. We go make a dent. Let me tell you, Sam, if this may be only build 5,000 homes then today for people there, believe me, I go fight on everything in my life for them. Because
You agree, say, Mr. Zubairu, you agree, say, when the mayor inherit the city of Freetown, only 25% of housing, there was no planning whatsoever. Let's be realistic. There was no housing planning
and the
whatsoever.
mayor know
When
that.
he inherit a plan in which there were only 25% of housing will be
And
registered
up to
as
now, there's
listed.
no planning, sir. There's no
Sorry,
planning.
say that again.
Even now, there is no planning.
No. That's two different things, Mr. Haroun. You can blame
Okay.
and now say there is no planning now, but I am saying based on what you just said, and part
Mhm.
of the conversation is there were no planning, especially during and after the war. So we need for
Hmm.
separate them two then they.
Right. Me not even talk about the war. The war, now one of the issues that we create, and not only we country, but
Yeah,
the
so
other
it's
country them.
central to the mayor inheritance of being mayor of Freetown. This mayor of Freetown, you they make me for you kind of defend the mayor because you're taking a different
No,
position.
you're not
But
defending.
she
You ask
wasn't
questions,
mayor
sir.
prior to the war. She became mayor after the war, 2 decades after the war. And the essence of that war, and waiting, the fallback of the war, that's what she inherited. Do you put that or factor that into your consideration when you deal with
Absolutely
them?
not. Absolutely not.
Why don't you?
Okay. So in 2013, 14, going to 15, Sierra Leone was the fastest growing economy in the world. Sierra Leone. This is after the war. So 10 years after the war, Sierra Leone was the fastest growing economy in the world. So we know say we don't come off from the war and issue where the we come down today. So after that, Ebola come and we come down. But when that happened, and then they call the mayor, it do a very good contribution, just like we all make we own
No,
play
no,
we own part.
no, no. Again, la pause you there. You made quite a good point. But what you try for do, you try for put the mayor into a point where she had not even inherited office yet, and Sierra Leone had stopped being the fastest growing economy during Ebola period,
Understand?
long
I'm
before she
saying
became a mayor.
I
How you go
understand.
put them in there?
No, what I say, we when I know make they use the war. And just like the Madabio administration, they say now that if war now Ukraine and which they make with all gasoline to go up. Where
That's not
in
what
no
I'm
state,
doing. That's not what I'm doing, brother.
hmm?
That is not what I am doing. It's you, if I understand you well, they try for put the current mayor into opposition, where not even be not assume office yet. For
No,
example, I remember you
I'm
again.
sorry. I'm
Arun,
sorry.
1 minute, please. I remember you quickly. What you say rightfully, Gisno, is Sierra Leone was one of the fastest growing economy. We know the time scale of when it was a fastest growing economy. By then, we current mayor was never office. And long before she assumed office, we lost that status. How you want link the mayor to that period and hold on responsible say, well, now during the period now where we've been there on the
No,
downturn. This is where I'm
I,
lost.
I was not. I'm not the type for connect that to the mayor. The only thing I say, I want to buy with the run for mayor of Freetown today,
Okay.
right? And I want to buy with no say in all the problems of Freetown, meaning housing are one of the big problems in the country. Traffic na other problem. Sanitation na another problem. Water system na another problem. The environment is another problem. Malaria is another problem. Typhoid is another problem. We know exactly what all the problems are. So Haroun Zubairu was saying, you know what? Based on what my findings are, I'm going to put a plan together that will help or alleviate all these problems. So I will go through my own list of litanies of information that I'll put there or plans that I'll put there. If it's plausible, if the people buy to it, if they believe in it, they will come and say, Haroun, these are your plans. We believe in you and we're going to vote for you. Once that happens, what would happen is Haroun Zubair will try to explain. If I don't go, if we're not able to achieve that goals, then the people of the country, the city will say, you say, we say A, B, and C, and you know, do them. You say based on the constraints, then based on the law, you say you're doing things there. So you're not doing, and you fail to do it. So we're not a vote for you again, or we'll put somebody where we can't do the job where you're not able to do. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, many thanks for that, Haroun. But just before I left you, of course, we get a few things then for cover because we are fast running out of time. And I would very much, yeah, like for cover your campaign, and potentially if I can't support the campaign, but it has to be based on substantive, yeah, kind of facts. This is what I'm trying to, yeah, present here tonight. Like for example, we can make accusations of the current mayor, but I did my due diligence coming into this interview. So let me present some stats, Mr. Zubairu.
Mhm.
When this mayor took over, there was absolutely no urban planning, brother. Absolutely no urban planning. So you can't falter on urban planning.
But
Okay.
which plan? What you don't do to that plan? Wait, there's no plan. You make plans.
No, no. First of all, we get for first of all agree, say, or not agree whether there was urban planning or not. I am saying there was no urban planning, and I wonder whether you did on that same wavelength. And if we did on that same wavelength, then you can ask, well, okay, there was no urban planning, but what has she done? That's a different thing
Exactly.
altogether.
Yeah.
There are two, yeah, exactly. Thank you very much because at least we agree on that. But I'll move on something quicker and
Yeah.
I will take questions from you as well so I can elaborate on that. So there was a system broken, we I mentioned earlier on, of 11 years of with civil war. That civil war they had with system completely broken. Mayor Akisoya was not mayor prior to the system being broken. She inherited a broken system. So if I were running for office, these are the things that we'll try to understand. And when I'm taking my strength, or eventually if there were to be a debate, I am familiar 100% with these particular issues. Okay, before I take on her. But here is the thing in terms of statistics. When she took over, there was 6% of liquid waste for a country that was being collected. 6%, Mr. Zubairu. 6% is very low. That's a factual statistics that I'm giving you, and you can check that up if you haven't checked it already. In
Mhm.
terms of solid waste, there was only 21% that was being collected, and this is what this mayor of Freetown inherited. Don't forget the stats that I'm giving you because these are facts. 6% of waste that was being collected and 21% of solid waste that was being collected. 38% of children, that's high mortality rate. Again, this is stats and it's fact that I'm telling you. Under the
38% of
age of
what?
5,
You said
sorry,
38% of
Arun,
what?
did you say 38% of what?
No, I ask you. You say 38% of what?
No, I get, yeah, that's how they try to understand. 38% of picking them
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
are dying from malaria because of the filthiness of the country. It's a stats. Check the IMF, check the World
Okay.
Bank,
So
check the
so so
international.
with the attribution at the mail, I make that nine reduce some.
No, I go come to it. Don't fast track it. This is just
Okay.
statistical facts I'm giving you. I'm not saying an incorrect term. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
I can answer your question. I'm just telling you because there were arguments between me and you, which he inherit. So this now one of the
Okay.
problem them where he inherit, where he try for
Right.
correct. Okay, so I can also give you a statistical fact that we had a young population where 75% of the population are young and then they under the age of 35%. It is also true, Mr. Zubairu, that 60% of this percentage of we young population, they are either not employed or underemployed. These are statistical facts. And in coming to the mayoralty, this is what she inherited and this is what she's been working towards. And having said this, it's objective facts. It's not like I'm siding with her. I'm just presenting this, and your team can do the due diligence if they have not done it already. Because if you will have to go against or up against her, this is what you will be going up against. There are a few things that I want to say to you as well before we close the program. Okay, that the mayor had a transformational plan which I know your team is aware of, because this is the key plan of Mayor Akisoya, the transformation of Freetown. In that transformation of Freetown, she's got four clusters. And the reason why I'm convinced that you are familiar with them, because you mentioned a few, I don't know how much studies you and your team have done. But in those four clusters, she's got resilience, she's got the human development, she's got the health or the healthiness of the city, and she's got urban mobility. These are the four clusters. You familiar with
I
those?
mentioned to you.
Yes, you mentioned, not all of them, the four clusters, but
All
you
of
did
them.
mention.
I go each and every one of them too. Just about
Okay,
15 minutes ago. Go ahead.
fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not going to take this away from you. And the reason why I highlight them again as well is because she's highlighted all of these, and in terms of all of these, she's got 11 priorities. Her team, they've taken 11 priorities out of this cluster, 11 priority sectors, and within these, they get them collector system, the formation of Freetown taxation, the housing and urban problems, and the green problem in terms of the eco environment. So this is deep, Mr. Haroun, and all I'm saying is I'm not supporting A, neither supporting B.
I want
I'm
to
just
support me.
Sorry, say that again.
I would actually support me.
I will absolutely do after I
Yeah,
will have looked
I have an
at your
open mind.
policies. After I will have looked at your policies, because this is what I'm outlining. I've taken my time to read into this mayor's presentation, and she's had
Yes,
these
sir.
opportunities to speak to X, Y, Z. And if you are going to be challenging her, I'm just hoping that you are, you're full of these, stats, you've studied them, so you're willing to take on them, because it's quite exhaustive. She's a smart woman, spent 20 years in public services in the Western world, and she was called long before she became a mayor to head the Ebola unit, transformational, blah, 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 blah. So therefore, what I'm saying, Mr. Zubairu, is if your team is going to take on her, these are the things that you need to know. And if then and now is going to support you, then that means you will have taken on her on the basis of policy, and we are convinced enough, and it's like Haroun is going to transform the city. But as we speak now, this is what she's doing despite all of
Okay.
the transgressions and challenges.
Okay. Prince, you go back to in Transform Freetown agenda. It's not an achievement by this mayor. All which you identify, one is 6% of the stool were collected back then. How many they collect today? Able for tell me. 38% of the population they die from malaria. That's a fact. That's just a statistics. Mrs. Akisoya not make them better or reduce the death of the people there. 75% of the population, the youth in today, not get job. That's a observation. That's a statistics. It's not that this woman bring job to the people there. So in a resilient environment, we say it do resilient, we come, it's a environmental management. Environmental management, the woman, if you go today, all across, even IMAT, you see people in Timabna treat, they urinate, they poop. The environment, so 300,000 trees them plant, majority of them they die today, not able to.
The record shows that she's planted over 500,000 trees. And the 500,000 trees, Mr. Zubairu, I mean, you can challenge that. I'm willing to
Okay,
listen. I will have to
that's
check
fine.
the stats.
Let's go by the trees them, and I can tell you, if on anybody with this alone today, every side, it's like a ticking bomb. We will get a natural disaster because of the amount of houses them we don't build across the hill them
Okay,
today.
and equally,
Hold on, sir.
what she's
Yeah,
saying. No,
hold on,
I want
boss.
to be, I want you bear with me small
Eh,
because you
yeah.
hide something where I be for mention and not mention them. I will give you a chance for let you speak again. Please,
Mhm.
I ask for your forgiveness as me guest. I don't intend to be rude. So, what the mayor has said is like, since he inherited office in 2018, we did have these problems of flood here and there and what have you. But because of policies the way they put in place and the work the way they do, largely then flood and the way been they take place has not happened on either it not happen or if it happened, not to the magnitude and the on which it been ever happened before. Now that have been one for
And we
carry on.
natural disaster it gets in time we in the react and global warming today because the trees they're not the plants and able for
No, but
capture
that's
them.
because of
So
reasons, Arun. If you not
what's that?
plant the trees, yeah, for
The
absorb
trees are not
the
grow it. The trees are not the grow it,
no,
boss.
not just
For
one.
capture the
But
CO2.
also, if you clear the gutter them, so that flood, yeah, not go happen. So water the flow, then that
Uh,
mean you can mitigate
okay,
that.
okay, yes, you clear and it's majority of the gutter they're not clean. And but also the reason what they cause the flooding first. Now the dot them. Number two, because of global
Exactly.
warming and the CO2 create the trees then they capture the CO2. So now that's the reason. So we go for planting for make in the first place let
Absolutely.
flooding not occur. So now that's not the thing we'll get for two. But let's go to back. Human development, education. As two schools that number don't build across the 300,000 students them. It not make any dent. It's a drop in a bucket. We when we talk about skills them, how many technical schools them this woman able for open for the people that or make them able for doing? And I talk about how many years. I'm talking during our tenure. We talk about healthcare. What's it able for do for mitigate any illness, for example, malaria? Again, I gone at the slums them, boss. But when you go now the slums them, they stink of urination and pee and denting and they you can't even stand down. You just feel for puke. When you go to them places that have been there, I've seen it my own eyes. It fell in that regard. Urban mobilization, there is not even 10 houses that this woman has built over the past 3 years. Resilient, I will put a X, human development, education, and those things if she failed. Healthcare and health in the city has been bad. And then urban mobility is a abysmal failure. Until we, as Sierra Leoneans, them begin talk the truth and fight for what we believe in, until we say, Lord, we bring somebody with it all accountable for a wrongdoings or incompetency, then we'll
So
fail.
Arun,
Yes, sir.
let me ask you this, and this is a political question, but it has to be informed by the statistics, just like you've just said. Typical example, what has the mayor done in terms of school building and etc. etc. etc.
This time
So
project them.
if you were to inherit a population of a city that you control, which was built for 300,000 people or
Mhm,
500,000 people, and that number, Mr. Zubairu, has
mhm.
tripled, which
Yeah.
means that in essence all of the amenities pertaining to that city, whether electricity or water system, they are all exhausted. You have to introduce something completely novel. And it's still kind of difficult. And that's the kind of city that she inherited. Do we
No,
agree on that basis, first of all, that that's what she inherited? She didn't create it.
I know they agree with that, sir.
Why don't you agree with that? Let me understand that. What do you
Um,
make you do the
in inheritance doesn't have anything with governing.
No, no, no. Let's separate. Okay, let's take away governing altogether from there. Harun wasn't there. He's a Sierra Leonean, in a Sierra Leonean. In City Usa Ekomot, of course, that's where me and you grew up.
Yes,
When
sir.
we grow up there, the mountain and they were with the seesaw. There
We
was
push
nobody
them
there
there.
in terms of
Yes, sir.
building an infrastructure. Now go
Mhm.
up, we go up there, we go meet fine valley and river
Yes,
them and little
yes,
streams. They run. We pick
yes.
black tumbler, we
Like
pick
Tumblr,
locust. Yes,
yes.
yes. Yeah,
All
I
good.
know, Arun, because we grew up there at the time.
Yes.
But let we look at now. Because
Um,
of the war, we population got displaced. So that number there, it triple,
mhm,
if not quadruple. And therefore, it exhausts all the system them in which the city, Usa, me and you been there, where we
mhm.
don't come up play ball, depending on Usa you grow
We go
up
na
in
Waterside, we go
town,
na the dam, we go
you go
there
to
and
the
watch, we
dam,
go
not
pick
even the
Malumbo and all that thing. This was
yeah,
why people
exactly.
know they get a
Even at your
natural
street corner,
disasters.
Harun.
Yes, sir.
Exactly, Haroun. Even at your
Mhm,
street corner, every side pump there. Now, so water they run so fit. You don't even need for lock the faucet. Now
true.
they force you to go worse.
Mhm,
Yet all of that became exhausted as a consequence of the war.
yeah.
And then Haroun became a mayor of a city when I've been 300,000, 500,000 people, and now it's 1.2 million. What's the difference are you going to make, and how are you going to make the difference?
Okay. It's going to be a mandate by the people for even choose somebody way unknown. This will get his quiet disposition, where they talk softly. Then this person get a tenacity. But this person get it for be bold and strong, innovative, and they get it for change, make that change. And how would it do it? It's urban migration. Urban migration is where the problem is. How would they do it? By going across the world, scout for enough money, and get at least $50 million for a start. Go with the central government, hopefully in a co-op go win 'em, and come and say, listen, we need at least $2 billion for let we begin mobilize and move the country to another level. What will they do? Will they expand Freetown to the urban, meaning McDonald, Kent, and then place then we go able for take well over 50,000 homes them and bring schools then they, church then they, businesses then they, access to local things the way people they need. If you able to bring them kind of day, you forget the mindset, and they make a change in the country, and they make this change. And here is the plan, which I want for do, sir. When the time which if I choose to do this, I dey
That's
put on now
that's
every
the problem, Arun. You are in campaign mode. You are in fighting spirit. You are here, to tell it as it is. So I think now I understand you, even though we don't go deep into the program.
I'm
But
not
I will
in
have
a
to bring
campaign
you
mood.
another day so we can talk about this campaign program. But carry on.
Yeah, so what you do? You dey come with a bold and strong fight. So are the changes, and I believe this wholeheartedly that if we get that opportunity there, at the fight in everywhere in the world, forget enough money from the first thing what they begin to now for migrate people and make people and get place for sleep, let them able to get access to all which they are within their system, meaning the now I call them a functional city. Place the people going at their own vicinity, able to access things them, school and then things then they able make their own living them that their area, then they will begin beautify we country. We also able to bring more money for water system. And I can tell you today we get a water problem, sir. Haroun Zubairu say get a solution to them. And if you give me that opportunity today, now 4 chemicals that they bring together with a container, now every area we get the water to solve the water problem. We get so much water, we're not able to control the water. Haroun Zubairu will know exactly how to do them
So
inside.
Harun, on this
Yes, sir.
issue of water, where it seems like now you want to get a solution. So all along for 60 years, none of them people there, what we go consider smart people, not get this idea on how to solve this water problem. So
Yes,
is
they're not
Harun going
able
to bring
because majority of them they get a dysfunctional way of doing things. Waiting and they do some, then come, then they create themselves as an elite. They are better than the ordinary people. Them then become this kleptomaniac system where they come for can thief all the country and money and look the population then they die with no empathy. Now that's make these are greedy people. We don't come and destroy the country and we continue for support them. What will they say? When it comes to the election, we go pull an ado and we go bring plants them by taking the projector across each area and see how it demise the broken of the system and waiting it will be with projector on Haroun Zubairu and how Haroun Zubairu determined for fix that problem there by telling them say yes now McDonald's now Kent now Tumbo now all the places then they we will get a new city, a shining city, a shiny town where people can go envy like any person at the country in the world. We don't need saloon money. What you want to do millions of dollars? Waiting. Waiting you want people they want for do, educate you picking them, have a livable wage, able for support yourself. Make the people able for do the same thing. Stop taking the people the money and deprive them for the basic needs of life. This is exactly what we're going to do. It's not about your accolades where you don't get in the world. It's how you ready and how truthful you be for make the difference in your country. And Haroun Zubairu choose for make Salone first and Freetown the best and the shining city where we always look for.
Arun, this has been kind of interesting, and
Yes, sir.
we get like 3 more minutes. Of course, we don't run out of time, but 3 more minutes, and we can only do this for a brother. And when your campaign finally reach, we could be very happy for host you. Of course, it will be with challenges as to because we don't want to pay them kind of falsity than they in terms of politician and them waiting they get for
You know,
deliver
it's
housing
not a
for the
false city, boss. We get
no,
for
no, I'm not
believing people
I'm
and
not
based
no
on the
no I'm not
character. Hmm.
okay. I'm not accusing you, Mr. Zubairu. I just they say generally. I'm speaking generally of the platform, politicians them in general, not you in particular. So all I'm saying is, when that time reach for let you present your program, we go happy for provide a platform for you, for let you use them as a stepping stone for speak
Hmm.
to the Sierra Leonean people. It's a
Wow,
commitment I'm giving live now whilst we're live. That's all I'm
wow.
saying, Mr. Aaron.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
mhm.
we don't come. Well, I mean, of course, we are the end of the program, Mr. Zubairu. We population of Freetown is densely populated. Okay, and they account for 0.1% of the landmass. Freetown, now as we speak, Mr. Zubairu, is home to
Mhm.
over 15% of the population. Imagine 50% of the population. So if you
Wow.
look at the landmass in terms of the space how would they spend or how would they congregate, is over exhausted. And this is part. I don't want to speak for Mayor Akisoya any longer because it seems like this is where we're going. And as we don't come to the end of the program, I want to you use this opportunity for talk about what we talk about today. USA we start
Mhm.
from in terms of gun government of Sierra Leone, the position USA we dey, water crisis, energy crisis, and you name it, and the direction where we are heading. And one thing where we not talk about, Mr. Zubairu, where I would really like for you to weigh in.
Mhm.
Recently, we get a by-election. Of course, normally when we get a by-election, all man they talk, then talk. But you as a social media pundit, as an influencer and a content producer, we go appreciate if you go weigh in on the recent by-election. Your thoughts. What are your thoughts on this recent by-elections? What it mean generally for the country?
Yeah. Um. Unfortunately, I will be honest now. So I not follow the by-election. This time.
Fair enough.
Obviously, I really engage into so many things. Them, so I'll not be able to pay attention to them. So I'll not be able to give me own day. But Udan Haroun Zubairu, which we don't talk about today. In 1787, we country was born. We city was born. We are a good city. We are good people. Then, Emil Kroma, you know how we grew up 70s, 80s, and see how the country was. It was a clean, open country. We were thriving. Our school system, our water system, our light, and all the things. Then, even though Shaka Stevens was not the best of president, but we will see a real clean city where you're gonna court or
Absolutely.
turntable and then place them there and outside, you able to live in a nice country, a nice city. But we see we country they go down. Our country not they do well. We country they fail. We people are failing. The begin they not they do well. The boys are just begging for their own living. Go today now, Lumley, up and down. Somebody they talk about Tombo crowded that area. You see how people in Dynamo up and down. It's like they're insane. People are using Pampers as a way of just getting away from this world. You see people and die. You see Okada people and they strive, but the odd against them, but they're still violent if you try to touch them. They will beat you till they kill you and burn you down.
Yeah.
This is our city. Sierra Leone, they cry. Sierra Leone, they plead. We as citizens, we will get the voice. We will want to speak for we people. We will ready for change we country. We get for old, we self accountable. For what will they do? How will they talk? If somebody didn't lie, you go see Ampanam. You go see Ampanam. So we want to do what's then called a functional city. A functional city, now that city where they in people them able for at least alleviate some of the disaster them we happen to we na sugar loaf. Some of
Yeah.
the problems them where we happen where today overpopulation people in a treat virtually. If people and go again, Mr. Prince, if you go like Kisi Road, before you reach to Mount God Junction and you come down small, by 2 o'clock in the morning, you see people are piling and they sleep in a treat. You see the people are within a cotton tree today. When they don't go bake tea, they don't get something for eating a cotton tree. Then they go back and then shop them by midnight, and then they go sleep in a corn. Handicap them. They
Yeah.
don't get water, they don't get for was, they don't get nothing, and then they sick and die. See the elites, they show say they're better than all the people that within our country.
Yeah.
The elites, they feel see them, they build Austin at the dilapidated road system, na high mat. Took out the road and turn. When then they feel see they're better off than the ordinary people with the Kisi Usaimi grow up.
Haroun,
This line is like
what's part Nakisi where you grew up?
na period of it, sir.
Wow, so you know the hunters, right?
Absolutely.
And you know Mile and Phil. I grew up
Marlon
Nakisi as
Field.
well, and I grew up
Yes,
now 160 Blackhall Road. This is the Hunter,
yes.
and 160. This is where I am, Boston Community Center, just there further
Boston
down.
Community Center. In fact,
Yes,
yes.
and we all and
And
the Mac Foys.
mhm,
Every time I look at you, I can remember one of the Mac Foys, but then we get hair. I don't know
okay.
whether you lost
Okay.
your hair
I lost
along
me
the
at them, but began yeah, I lost them by 24. Yes.
Sorry for the distraction, but carry on, brother. You know, yeah,
Yes.
because every time I look at you, I try to figure out. He looks like a
Mm-hmm.
face very much that I know. But of course,
Yes.
I go up the up now
Mm-hmm.
160 Black Hole Road, and we all
That's all
hang
good.
out
Oh
at
wow.
Mile and Field, and
Mm-hmm.
then
And in
Big
fact,
Yard, and then
me
Castle
wife,
Farm, and
me
then
wife, you probably gonna know me wife because I didn't self come out. Marlon Field to be exact, na Black Hole in place, and I didn't mean wife come out. So we come on, I can see. Now I make we put this into your own place. So and we are good people. You can see how productive. Majority of the people who are grow up today, all na medical doctor them, then a lawyer them, people them. Even
very
this for what they call,
productive.
even
Yeah,
this man that they call gentle. So today, now me and grew up in that area. So again, we have done. We are good
you
people.
know, say Emmanuel
Mm-hmm.
Ali. You know,
Emmanuel,
say he grew up now Black Hole Road. Yeah, I will tell you the history
it
for your
feels so
private. Yeah.
familiar.
Of course, now
Emmanuel
Black Hole
spoke.
Road, now they grow up with him brother.
Okay,
You know,
it's so
yeah,
familiar.
yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah. So
Opeti,
we
Maliki, yeah,
yes. Hmm.
yeah.
So this is my now let me go. Now let me go. Now I'm gonna tell you say I know what's aside them. Up Mamba Reach. Now they will go pick Malumbo. Now they will go swim
Malumbo,
at the dam.
Guava,
Yes.
Locust,
So
Blatomla.
we know exactly what we in town like. You know,
Oh,
so one food
God.
stay where you go pick, where you get for cost mommy cost first before you pick them up. We know that in there too. So this is our country, but guess what? We were fine. We
Hmm.
were fine. We were good. But if we then at this position today, for speak out for we people, them, let we do them.
Yeah.
Let we be truthful, and we get this car. We get it for fight for the common good, and we'll speak. I hope so the mayor not feel say I get any animals against not personal. In fact, the mayor now me I go church na Zion Church. Now whether our youth fellowship, but I not member. Now we in Zion Church, now we before street. I know in parents them. So we don't come apart.
Yeah, but you did try for attend for in office, so it
Absolutely.
doesn't come easy. Of course, not democratic, right?
Yes.
But absolutely.
So it's going to be an interesting one, and it's going to be an intellectual discussion and exercise when me and Mayor Akisa team up and the podium, and we're not to talk about personal and not gender or anything of that sort. But they say, here's your record, here is how you don't, which you don't do, and what you plan for do in the future. And I will put me onto the task, and I will itemize them, and I will put them in a feisty way with a respect and make the difference that we continue. I'm ready to do that. And Lord, going no more. It the
So
time will
how
tell.
prepared are you when we come to the end of this program? Because Mayor
Mhm,
Akisoya, and I only asked this question because of what you mentioned in the last few seconds. She's got
mhm.
25 years of public sector experience, strategic planning and developmental partnership. She's got all of this in her record. Where do you stand,
Sir,
Haroun?
we get Madam Hillary Clinton, they get all the name and the accolades and the qualification. A young man will come out now, a social activist like me, we have got in Barack Obama, speak truth to power and speak to the people, and people discount him until he win Iowa, and people then begin to say, oh my God, he is a force to reckon with. And at the end, it prevailed and beats one of the best politicians they ever in John McCain, and he become president for 2 terms as a black president. So you can put early Achilles, the Queen Gee, anything. That doesn't have anything to do with the
But,
people
yeah,
of
but
Britain.
Mr. Zubaru, they could say, yeah, the Obama phenomena that was well planned, it was well grilled, it was well oiled, it was a machine, that was supported in rah 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 rah. And if we understand the nature of politics, especially in the Western world, it's not like how we tend to think. It is created. The Obama myth was created. It's not like it happened out of magic that this,
But Camille, with all due respect, you don't know me for years. I don't do a social activist. From Ernest Bicomite, I fight Ernest Bicomite more than any other person. Marabio is just a peanut with what I do with by coma. I don't they talk on them things then. And not only that, me little cash I don't they make that this world. I don't build school STEM. I don't create bridges STEM. I don't they help people in a university. Some then they do a master's today. What I don't do in me all right. I've done well for my own society. And so I've been doing this thing. So we can say all the way to one for say, but I won't as and not only that, when the time reach, even though I don't begin put the plans together, God willing, if I ready, I will make sure say we plan them. And not only a good day for you, but the entire country could see me plans them and how plausible. And I get a very good team where go come and work with me. And they are young, they are vibrant, they understand, and they're professional. They have their degrees. Unfortunately, they're not get with ends not in meet right now. But God in power, God will help them in that regard. We go far in this campaign, and we
one
go
final,
win and we
one
will flip
final
it.
thought. One final thought, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Zubairu.
Mm-hmm,
It almost sounds like what you just said, Gigi Snow. But
mm-hmm,
I'll ask that anyway.
mm-hmm,
There's high competition. And say we country they take a different trajectory in many respects. From the beginning of this conversation, something where I absolutely agree with you. The people that where they suffer we most. Now in we the electorate where term reach we can go jump na treat for dance for, which you spoke to from the beginning of this conversation. What should we take from this conversation? 2023 around the corner, and then above all, the mayoralty of the municipality of Freetown.
mm-hmm.
Put them 3 years together for we. And one thing I know, maybe I may not have the chance to ask this question, but having understood where you're coming from tonight, of course, before the interview, I've been trying to factor this in my head. During
Mm-hmm.
the interview, it's now clear to me, and we are willing, for bring you come on as long as it now about the Sierra Leonean people for can explain why you think say you for be some kind of a representative, which we go happy for bring you come back. But with the
Okay.
other three were actually are honoring, will you address that, please?
The first thing I would say, I know they disrespect the people of Sierra Leone, but they talk to. They want the way you go and dance for people them. Now because you know get sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now because you're stupid. I make you the good dance for people. They will make you poor as you pour the equity you pour. So where you not get school, you not get water, you not get light. You keep the dance for the weather and the picking and they do well. You not get sense. You will do one. Look now, you look your surrounding, look the people them, look your neighbor them, if them better off today. Then look other people in a different city them across like Ghana and then place them they. You wonder we get when 1 million people and die. And una we going at 50,000 people and die. Una still they go with these people and the same recycling. Una they go fetch for them. Now you choose if you want go dance for them. But at the end, you die before you turn. You go die at 47. You know they see you can picking them. You know they see you picking married or go finish college. You picking not even your college. If that you want, now your choice. And what's your other questions, huh?
You almost caught me, yeah, like off guard. Waiting, I mean, the try for say, I believe
Mhm.
is like we don't come towards the end of the program, and
Right.
definitely,
But
we, yeah, we go bring you come back on because we
right.
want to talk about
Mhm.
the things that we want to address, and we don't understand you clearly now as
Right.
in terms of you ambition. Um, we recently get some by-elections. Of course, I
Okay.
just they add this the by-elections, and I think I've been asked you earlier on. I'm not sure how much of it you they follow, but what you know
Mhm.
you take.
Yeah, now they say like I said, I'm not be able to put me on during this by-election. I don't know which thing don't happen, but we only did say Mr. Madabio, when it comes to election, we see the other by-election, then where people, somebody die, they beat people, including Kane Yumkela, with them broken. We need a free and fair elections. We ask the ordinary citizen that we believe in democracy or protect them, we vote them. Let we count the real votes them. Let we make sure say we get the people the possible we choose be the leader of the country. At this time, we are not going to wait for any person, any president begin lock people up because it feels say now a deterrent. It's not going to happen because we believe it would get for lock up thousands of people. And look at the jail system today. Look how bad it be for people and then put in a jail for years. For no, they don't even know why they lock them up. The matter be
Okay,
keep they lock people them up.
okay, Arun. One final thought, and this
Mhm,
closes the program.
mhm,
Um, COPPP. Of course, you know the initials now. You know, you're
mhm.
the consortium of progressive political parties. You are a supporter of Dr. Kande Yumkela, and elections are looming.
Good
And it
question. Mhm.
seems like COPPP they in tandem with the All People's Congress and Dr. Kande Yumkela. Not mincing my words, Kande Yumkela is a huge figure, politically speaking, both domestically and internationally. What you you
Doctor,
read, yeah, or what you can say in terms of Dr. Kanda Yunkela and the rest of COPE and moving forward with the elections looming SLPP Paupa.
um, Dr. Ayum Kellen, I'm a man, and I choose them because I get the qualifications, I get the tenacity, I get the courage, and also a disciplined human being where you can find in this world. So Dr. Ayum Kellen, I'm a choice. Now, the COPP, we only caution what the caution we already did. If we get for come into coalition, they want them with a record, don't tint it over the past years, they're not forgetting opposition.
When you say then
They want
one
them.
them, is it general across the board?
Across the board, yes. If you be done in our politics for this long, for 20 years, if you not able to make a dent, if you not get no, if then they question all some of your things now, believe me, we're going to fight against you. We are going to fight in this coalition. We go for weed out the bad apple them. We don't come now, we continue, we that predators them. Then they wait on any animal who come for they can prey on them or prey on the people them and come back. They get some people them. Wait, before you go further, sir, once I get for saying also, we get some young people in that country they where they go and debate na then television and then show them they talk on behalf of political party. Then which then they wait for now for let their own time come for can loot the people in asylum. When they begin call them out. If you they think say go work, go find work, go do your job. No country we country say you can't wait for let them come, they can't say oh you don't better because you go work. Now service you they get to a country, but if you the wait now for can't take for country money, you are in for something. We go shed the light say now these are the people then they wait for can't take for country money. Now then they come. So we wait for them. We wait for the can't take money. We will
Haroun,
speak out. Yeah.
this is it. Of course, I keep saying this is it, but finally, just like
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jackson say, this is the curtain, your closer.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, um, do you envisage, and this is quite telling, do you envisage another 5 years of Julius Maada Bio, SLPP stroke Paupa in government?
Wow. That will be Sierra Leone. We are done. We are done because it's not in second term. There is no possible way that this man will be president again. We go fight in every way, every might. If the people are they're ready for let a win back, not a choice. But there is no way I will foresee Sierra Leone choose this man again. And this man, as much as it don't mess with country up, as incompetent as he is, as divisive as this man is, as this man neglect with people there, they shouldn't get another term. As a make a wife become a threat on our own country, and we have to point finger on the people and threaten them. If you choose this man again, we do not see it. Now we can see at its worst. Then it will change the rule where it not go like forgive up power. And this time, it's not gonna happen. America do it to Donald Trump. We try for Donald to matter be too.
Well said, Haroun. And Fambolem, I'm just going to read quickly because this is something that we do on this platform traditionally, but I should have done it earlier on because potentially, as I go through it, there will be questions for either myself, the presenter, or we guest, or something just for express sentiment. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, but as a mark of respect, I'm going to try to run through this quickly. Then at the
Mm-hmm.
chat room. So we get Almami Shaw, Zubairu hates the mayor, but he's saying the fact. I love this. I really love this. Zubairu hate the mayor, but he's saying the fact. That's from Alimami Shaw. That's the first person that
I
made
will
it.
say I hate the mayor where I not talk anything personal against him, not in physical looks, in family, or anything of that sort.
Well,
I only talk about in achievements and failures. I mean, that doesn't mean that I hate the woman. You don't say things like hate what is a strong word. Don't do that, man.
yeah, thank you for addressing that. I do think hate is a strong word as well.
Yeah,
I
don't say
always
that.
say that because
That is
that's
disrespectful.
attributed to me. And I say I do like it because this person went on to say Zubairu hate the mayor, but he's saying the fact. Do you see the controversy and the
Yes.
irony in what the
Don't get
person said?
I'm not saying
Very
give me actually, but
interesting.
I'm not gonna let somebody say I hate any human being.
No,
I
no, not
respect
at
for
all,
human
because
being.
it is a strong
Yeah,
word. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I agree. I agree. Replying to Adama Mambu. So Adama Mambu said something, and somebody replied, "Zubaru, you not fit for be mayor na salon na Akisoya we want something like that." Okay.
That's an individual opinion, and the majority, Mr. Get people that will say, "Na Zubairu we want." Check out what people they say about Zubairu, and they will tell you, say, because of his honesty and we plans that they put, and in sincerity and plans that we don't they talk about, they are serious. Just like the other person will say, "Hey, respect me. I've been truthful on my thoughts." Them, yeah. So everybody get their own. So my own opinion, and I respect that also. Probably in the future, I go before convince some for let it in on my side.
Absolutely difference of opinions. Thank you
Yeah.
for addressing that.
Mhm.
Um, okay, Adamo Mambu has been very active on the platform. The central government failed to support her, apparently talking about the mayor. And at the same time, she is not allowed to collect taxes. Yeah. Okay.
That is
Same
not
Adamo Mambu.
true. That is
Yeah.
not true. They only get 18 billion from the taxes. Wait, if I don't get 30 something billion, because to be plug yeah in credits now, right? It puts a plan where it able for know all the them we need for pay taxes. It put the plan together. But the problem is able to collect all the money the way we supposed for. I think it collects 18 billion instead of 35 billion. So again, we go say as it's high, at least we get some money through the system for like able for. But also sir, before we go further, sir, we only for 1.5 million people there. How many city council police that we get? Now, 130 no more day for enforce traffic violations and any kind of crime where they happen now. 130. Now, a 1.5 million population, man, this is not making sense. Let's be honest. So again, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, but Haroun, these are the challenges that the mayor inherited. She's not the
True.
one that put these into place. So
Um,
1.5 million population, 1.2 million population in Freetown, this
mhm,
is what she inherited. And these
yeah.
are the challenges. But what she did do
And the
during
question will
her
be,
tenure,
we want to ask the question, and the question will be, if I happen to have a debate with this woman at the stage, we're going to ask her the question, which are you plan for
of
make
course,
these
but that's
changes then?
completely different. That's what you're
Yeah,
anticipating when you do have the
yeah,
debate with her. But this could be a preparatory ground, some things then for you for consider if you
yeah.
will eventually go into a debate with her, because this is what she inherited her in. This is
Yeah,
what she inherited
you
in terms
inherit
of
for so long.
there was no
Now for
building
4 years,
plans.
how long
Arun,
before they say you inherit something? Is it one, two, first time, second time? How long are you going to be saying because
yeah,
I
but she's
inherit
just been there for
something?
time. Arun,
It's
for
going to
goodness sake,
4 years.
brother, been it's not been like two terms. It's one term. And I
Yeah.
don't think she's making of course I'm not a spokesperson, but it's not like she's making excuses out of it. But she have to outline, just like what you're saying when you're making your
Hmm.
case. This is
Right.
what she inherited. In terms of
Incumbents get a lot for
housing,
answer
there
too.
is no planning at all, brother. And in terms of
We
paying
want
rent,
while
only
we a plan we get plus me on plan and a plan where they get for the next time. Now we get for debates now. Which make we
okay.
feel say that plan that we be get that same day and the plan we want for the which make it we for believer now. Where the first one we get not be at work. And now my own plan go say yeah overweighting because me they go for autonomy. Me don't mean I would change that from Olu to autonomy. I own autonomy to buy because they order that not be fight. Now you get for
Yeah,
be.
but you're making a judgment on somebody who is in office now, and you're
And
absolutely right.
that's the downside to be an
Aaron, one
incumbent.
minute. You're absolutely right that you are challenging her on them basis, then they, but she equally gets this moral equivalency. This is what I took over, and they are just facts. Only 25% of we housing them being registered at the system. And there was no system of planning at all. These are just facts. But I don't want to be the mayor and spokesperson. I'm just the highlight
Mhm.
this. So let me go back to the comments.
And
If we
that's Madam Youssef they do say right now. Amit Sierra Leone was the worst country on the face of the earth, the poorest nation of the world. He keep repeating down and they so we say because it just can't meet the country at its shamble, so not to fault. It got for try for fixing the next administration. We're not going to
no,
buy that. That's
there
not
are
going to
two
it's not
major
going to happen.
differences. There are two major differences in the analogy we just give. Marabio and people and they write out a manifesto. They had a
And
plan. They accuse the
and
government.
I said
And they
do
come
a
and they come to
transform
that. It's
freedom,
not like Mayor Akisoya not being get, yeah, a plan
a
or
transform freedom.
manifesto. Yeah.
Yeah, it get 19 priorities 11 priorities and 4 clusters. And all of that, that's the own mandate we come with, we put forth in front
That's
of
what she
us.
wants to work with.
And I, right at this moment, we have failed the people. We have failed the people in every front. So everything that we said, again, I know people get for
Again,
cover something very so viciously, but again,
Mr.
if I not be
Zubairu, if
truthful to myself, then I'm doing a disservice to our country.
absolutely. But the truth here is, if we
Mhm.
should be truthful, with them plans then the way he get and then priorities then they, she brought along tens of thousands of community people along with her. That's the skills. And this now one skill one knows say you definitely get because you look like a people's and sound like a people's person. But in this
Mhm.
case with the mayor, again, like I say, I'm not trying to make the case for her. I've just read into all of the stats that were presented when
Yeah,
she went to
they're worse.
Bloomberg.
And that's the thing. And let me tell you about the sewage system or the collection of with a go and create systems that across the city, not to one, two, three, but to get like 20, where would they use the sewage system as a reusable product. For example, the water where they get from the stool them, we can able for change down they can construct them and make them one way they use for water plants them. Number two, the stool that will they collect, will they make them into a coal where people are going for fire, then cooking for cook. We go make them to coal. we're able to do them things than they across the country. So
Absolutely,
again, we got the
absolutely.
plastic them, and also the plastic came for reconstruct them to chair for school them across the country. Again, these are things that are doable. I'll let you get somebody we get the tenacity, the plan, and also the zest to make these things happen. Now I know what will happen. And also the she has the zest, but the thing you know get. I mean, I know I will say that because people will feel sad they
So
disrespect her.
what exactly you talk about? Are you talking about the mayor, the current mayor, that she's not doing all of these?
No, she's not. And we still
Yeah,
get the
and where
same
did you
system
land these from? Where did you land these from
by
to
by
make these
by by
accusations? Because
seeing
I
that
agree with
by
you,
mere
she's not doing
investigation,
these.
at the country, and also implants them where incessant able for execute due to the pitfall the central government and also donors that were not able for support implants them.
Well,
Let me keep it.
Arun, oh dear, we've run out of time. I go get for bring you come back again where we will just get this back and forth. Like I'm saying, I don't want to be the mayor's mouthpiece, but
No,
what I've
you're not.
found
You're
is
challenging me,
no,
sir.
at the Cameroon, I don't want to be the mayor's mouthpiece. No, but as the host of the program, you they present this opportunity to me in which if I try for defend your imposition, it sounds like you being the mouthpiece of the mayor, and
You're
that's
not.
not going to be fair to my guests. That's all I'm saying. So what we will get for do is come back again on another day and talk about
Mhm,
these things. But let me talk about in program Lily B. That does not inhibit us from talking about the mayor in program. So we
mhm.
therefore have the benefit of hindsight for look at waiting he inherit. That's the thing. What he inherit? She inherited an absolute rubbish, a community that was 300 to 500,000 people. That's what she inherited. When she inherited that, she saw a position of
So, so,
country. Yeah,
so,
go on.
I'm now for Leo come to say, um, the mayor come to the position where na them be the in power. The former mayor where in take over na APC person, and it's by Koma choose them. The guy choose, this woman for one. And this woman and nobody tell us say that's how bad it is before it come into power.
Let's
Well, I
assume
want to
that they told her how bad it is before
yes,
she came into power. So
and where it is one,
what's your
where
point?
it see all the
What's your
problem
point?
them, where it see all the problem them. You know, people put plan contingent plan for
Of course she
alleviate
did.
some
She
of this
put a
problem.
contingent. No, come on, Haroon. Of course. Of course, she was
Mhm.
told what the problems were. The problems were now
And also, she
automatically
put a plan
there.
based on the
It,
waiting meets that at the table.
say that again.
It put plans them based on waiting friend at the table.
But that's one thing because of what you
And
are
so the
informed.
plans them, they never execute them.
Harun, Harun, I would expect you for do better on this. You
Okay.
don't expect the mayor. Had it been you, it would be the same problem because the problem where the city get is so monumental. Do you think you're going to attain or just solve the problems, them all of them about Freetown? No, you wouldn't. Instead, it will be based on the proportion of problems that you solve. Now, so we go grade you. That's
Yes,
what it is.
if you're able to make at least 50 or 75% of your promise, then it's a good one, or 50%, sir.
Of course, that now what
Right?
you
And
intend for do. That now what
right,
you intend for
right.
do.
And you
You're
see,
never going
sir,
to achieve that in the city of Freetown because one, Arun, the fact is when she inherited the city of Freetown, pull Akisoya Komode because I don't want to be a defender. Let me put my good friend Haroun Zubairu in the position. So Haroun Zubairu inherited a Freetown. We don't go through 11 years of civil war. During that 11 years of civil war, people got displaced. And this is not something where you understand very well. So your population where you been get now been 200,000 people. Because of the displacement of people, it turned out for be double that number with the amenities. How do you do that? Where is the housing and everything else where people can come with? It exhausts the facility where you already get a room. It exhausts that.
based
So
on based of let's say I come into administration which is so hostile to me, what would I do? I would go now, like she's making a campaign of people urinating, and the end people are not following her. a command or waiting is try for do. In fact, say
She
people in the
moved,
unit for stop.
she moved tens of thousands of communities along with Haroun.
No, sir. Hey, Mr. Emil, I'm telling you, you go into the city as an ordinary person, just go and do a search and all. There are you go around. There is no Sunny John, meaning
How
where people are going.
how do I do the search? Which search you talk about,
Okay,
and
let's
how
say
do I
you
do
go
it?
to tongue. So let's say you go to tongue today.
Yeah.
You press for use the restroom. Where would you go? Now that's how they say. The woman
Okay.
not able to provide place for the people and go defecate, except the people
Okay.
and go
Okay.
defecate
One
and
minute.
go
One
on.
minute. 1 minute. You see, this is unfair. And you know what I go get for try for do? Haroun, I think I get for
Mhm.
try for join you committee. Because if now me you they make this case against, this case is not going to wash. And I they tell you fairly on a public platform. Why do I say this? You they talk about a city of 1.5 million people as opposed to 500,000. So yes, even if it were you, you not go even able for meet that capacity day
That's not true,
as we
sir.
speak.
I'm not going to go scout for
Exactly.
Sunny John.
But why are you
That's not
making
true.
them
But
now? It's
that's
it's
not
some
true.
political.
No, that's not true because I know go see. I want to clean the city. People and they defecate and urinate across the city. And then we go get and Sunny John for let people and go they put and then go empty them.
Have you
That is
mitigated
not
that,
true.
sir? What's important now because your population don't expand in terms of the space,
And the
the mass
population,
space.
then you
Have
they
you
go according to the
mitigated?
population and
No,
see
no,
the amount
Harun.
of.
Harun, you don't mitigate that. Let me say it been happen 10 times. So you cut them down to 5 times. Is that not some kind of achievement?
Absolutely, and she had not make any dent in that
Or nothing
in
in
that
that?
effort.
Okay. I get
He
your point.
hasn't. There's
Okay, I
no,
get your
you know,
point.
the sister and John
Harun,
across the place, and you see how crowded it
Harun,
is. Yes, sir.
you know what I want you do now? Of
Hmm.
course, we just they go back and forth. But I want to let you use the last 1 or 2 minutes and just round up the program so we can close the program. But what you will get for do again, because now I've taken a lot of learning from this conversation with me and you get. I kind of know the direction where you they go. And
So,
I'm not playing. I'm not, and I know they try for side with somebody, but I want to let you round up the program, even though I've been not give you an opportunity for running up before, because now me push them back again. So like give you another 1 or 2 minutes for let you just round up this program.
so I don't need somebody who gets a tenacity and ready for work for them. So I don't want from Freetown wants people who can make a bold change in our country, a drastic change, not a transform because Freetown has not been transformed in any facet, in any shape or in any form. We want somebody who will bring a functional place, a functional city. We will make the city vibrant and the envy of the world. How would they do them? By bringing resources, them borrow money and implement something, and by putting structures them outside for they plan them, the housing, the homeless, the traffic, the employment them, and also use renewable energy for bringing jobs to the country. Yes, we can able to do them. Today we get problem with light and gasoline and then things then we can able for do them for alleviate as we did so today. Now put on a boat, now they give you lights now we continue. We can able to do that by windmill and solar system. We can able to do that now we continue. Until we get somebody we able to make we city, the shining city, now West Africa, we're not better. And we are ready this time. We want young and a vibrant person. We're ready for make the country, the city, a better city. In Haroun Zubairu, I will do that at any time. I will give every fabric of my soul for make the difference. So we are ready. And the time when we're ready for run for this, we will bring a plan. We will put people in together. We will make the world know about this functional city. We will be the shining city of the world. Thank you very much, boss. It's been a very good discussion, and I hope say people enjoy what we do. Thanks, boss.
Yes, Mr. Haroun. Brother, many thanks. And I can actually say, of course, this is not only first time where they host you or the
Mhm.
platform they host you. We've hosted you, yeah, on a few
Multiple
occasions.
times.
Yeah, exactly. The only difference this time is because there is there is some kind of an
Ambition.
ambition. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Which we not disagree with you, because as a Sierra Leonean, you have an absolute right for exercise that franchise, that right today. And in that direction, because we try for probe today, it doesn't end here for try for understand where exactly Haroun, because he potentially might be the one that might make the difference. The only difference here again this time is the mayor don't did it for the last 3 4 years. They don't articulate in program. And I think say the point that you are trying to make, that she's failed us in certain respect. So what do we take from there? But the points are well noted and taken, Haroun. And promise again, what you will have to do is to introduce another segment of the program in which we will talk specifically about this and how you can run your campaign, because it's a campaign. All the talk, what they talk about so now is a campaign on how you can promote your strategy. And this
Mm-hmm.
is what we expect the next time within a
Yeah.
Haruni strategy. Because the mayor
Okay.
talk about these 11 proposals, these cluster programs,
Mhm.
and etc. And she's well spoken, and he get this opportunity for visit TED and Bloomberg and what have you. So she's made a case.
Yeah,
Arun, they
she
come from
admit
the
all
other
those
side.
cases, but then it's not become, and not come to fruition. Now we sit here and we are sad in that regard because she has a good potential also.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. So we go get for plan something shortly. But
yeah,
we really, really do appreciate your time tonight.
yeah.
And it's always an admiration, and feel humble always, yeah, for kind of host you. And then your ambitions is something that in respect theoretically that we bless, even though we can like for look at things from a practical point of view for say how feasible they are. But
Mhm.
much love, brother. And
Thank
we
you.
want to say thank you so much. So Fambulem, again, we don't come to the end of another program, but I promise you now we will bring Haroun back soon, and we will make him very short, because this was an understanding program and we don't understand a few things. Now we don't understand a few things. So the next time when we engage, we know exactly what it will be up, and we go restrict them to a time. Harun, thank you so much, my
Thank
brother.
you, boss.
Yeah,
God
it's
bless you, boss.
always a pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
you
All right,
were.
later, boss. Bye,
Yeah,
everyone.
thank you so much. So Fambule Nain, we don't come to the end of the program, and I thank you so much. So I want to say goodbye to all, and here we are. Goodbye, good night, everybody. It's been a Then and Now TNN media program. Okay, Fambule, Una, thank you very much. Una keep a watch out, because we will come up with the next program very soon. Hopefully, of course, today is Sunday, Monday morning, Monday evening, Monday afternoon. Thank you so much for listening. Good night, everyone. Goodbye, everyone.